What if the strength you seek comes not from holding on tighter, but from letting go completely? What if safety is not found in building higher walls, but in realizing that you have always been the sky? There is a tension in the modern soul, a quiet, persistent hum of anxiety that underlies our days. It is the tension of control, the relentless effort of holding it all together, the strategic planning of every next move, the constant vigilance against a future that might not unfold according to our design. We carry it in our shoulders, a dull and heavy ache. We feel it in our chest, a tightening when things deviate from the plan. It is the mind's endless treadmill of what-ifs and should-bes, a frantic attempt to chart a course for a river that is, by its very nature, wild and unpredictable. We have been taught that this is strength, that this is responsibility, to manage, to direct, to foresee, to prevent. And so we clench our fists, believing we are holding on to our lives, not realizing we are only holding on to the strain. But look at the cost, the quiet exhaustion that sleep does not touch, the subtle feeling of being a spectator to your own life, too busy managing it to actually live it. The disconnection from the simple, unscripted joy of a moment that arrives unannounced. The feeling that you are perpetually braced for an impact that never comes, or when it does, it arrives from a direction you never anticipated. For a moment, right here, right now, I invite you to entertain a different possibility, a possibility that feels like a radical act of rebellion in our world, the possibility of surrender, not as an admission of defeat, but as an act of profound wisdom. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, a gift you do not have to earn or schedule. And as you exhale, imagine the tension leaving your body with it. Breathe out the need to know. Breathe out the need to fix. Breathe out the frantic strategist in your mind. Let there be a space. This is not a lecture. This is a sanctuary. A threshold you are crossing into a quieter, deeper part of yourself. Here, we will not add more rules or strategies. We will begin the sacred work of unbecoming, of letting the armor fall away piece by piece. Here, we learn to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the silence from which all true answers emerge. The journey inward begins now. We begin by examining the chains we have learned to love. They are not cold, hard iron, forged in a dungeon. They are golden, shimmering with the light of our own intelligence, our foresight, our tireless effort. These are the chains of control. We mistake them for ornaments, for trophies of a life well managed. This is the gong kumbang vang, the golden cage we have built for ourselves, bar by polished bar, and called it a fortress. Look closely at this cage. It is a masterpiece of engineering. Its bars are made from our finest achievements, our 5-year plans, our carefully curated relationships, our perfectly balanced schedules. We spend our lives polishing these bars until they shine, admiring our own reflection in their surface. We tell ourselves, this is security. We tell ourselves, this is strength. The world looks at our cage and applauds. It sees discipline, ambition, success. And inside, we feel a strange and secret paradox, a deep weariness that no amount of success can soothe. We feel the gilded bars, not as a protection, but as a limit. We can see the vast open sky, but we cannot reach it. Let us be clear. This impulse to control is not a character flaw. It is a profound and ancient survival mechanism. It is the echo of every ancestor who had to scan the horizon for predators, the residue of every time our trust was broken, the scar tissue from every fall we ever took. Control is a strategy born of fear. At its heart, it is the terrified cry of the ego in the face of a universe that is fundamentally mysterious and untamable. It is the fear of uncertainty, the abyss of the unknown where anything could happen. The ego, that part of our consciousness that builds our identity, cannot survive in the unknown. It needs labels, plans, predictions. It needs to know the outcome before the game has even begun. So it constructs its cage of certainty, a small, well-lit corner in an infinitely vast and wild cosmos. It is the fear of failure, the dread of not measuring up to an invisible standard. So we control our performance, our image, our words, hoping to build an armor of perfection that no criticism can pierce. It is the fear of pain, the memory of past hurts driving us to micromanage the present, desperately trying to prevent history from repeating itself. Feel it in your own body, this energy of control. It is a clenched fist. Try it now. Clench your hand as tightly as you can. Feel the tendons pull, the knuckles turn white, the muscles burn with effort. Feel the strain in your forearm, your shoulder. This is the energy you are expending every single day, in 1,000 different ways, holding your life in this tight, white-knuckled grip. It is utterly exhausting. It consumes a tremendous amount of your life force, your vital energy, leaving you depleted and brittle. This is why you feel so tired. It is not the work. It is not the schedule. It is the relentless, 24-hour-a-day effort of clenching. And what are you holding so tightly? Sand, the sand of the present moment. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. The more you try to control life, the more life itself seems to elude you, leaving you with nothing but the ache of your own effort. This creates a deep and painful conflict within you. A civil war rages quietly in the landscape of your soul. On one side stands the manager, the guardian. Its voice is loud, logical, and sounds deceptively like wisdom. It says, "Be careful, plan ahead, don't let your guard down. If you don't take charge, everything will fall apart. Remember what happened last time? We can't let that happen again." This voice presents itself as your protector. It compiles evidence from your past, projects terrifying scenarios into your future, and insists that its anxious vigilance is the only thing keeping you safe. To disobey it feels irresponsible, reckless, even insane. On the other side, there is not a voice, but a feeling, a quiet, deep, profound sense of suffocation. It is the part of you that yearns to breathe. It is the part of your soul that remembers what it feels like to run through a field without a destination, to laugh without reason, to sleep without a list of worries as a lullaby. This part does not argue with the manager's logic. It cannot. It simply expresses its exhaustion. It communicates through the tightness in your chest, the lump in your throat, the inexplicable sadness that washes over you on a beautiful day. It is the whisper that says, "I can't do this anymore. There must be another way to live." This is the conflict. The perceived need for safety versus the profound need for freedom. The prison guard versus the prisoner who yearns for the sky. And the tragedy is that they are one and the same. The guard is simply a part of you that is so terrified of the prisoner getting hurt that it has locked them away, forgetting that a life without freedom is its own form of death. So we must arrive at the core message, the ray of light that can penetrate the beautiful prison we have built. The cage, no matter how golden, is still a cage. Your freedom does not lie in adding more gold to the bars. It does not lie in making the cage more comfortable, more spacious, more admired by others. Freedom lies in recognizing that you were never meant for a cage. You were born of the sky, of the wind, of the wild and untamable energy of life itself. Look at the life you have built through control. The achievements, the accolades, the stability. These are not bad things. But ask yourself, with ruthless honesty, am I at peace? Do I feel a sense of ease, of flow, of joyful participation in my own existence? Or do I feel like a watchman on a lonely tower, forever scanning the horizon for the next threat? The shift we are embarking upon is not about destroying what you have built. It is not about becoming passive or irresponsible. It is about changing the fundamental energy from which you operate. It is the shift from fear to trust. It is the realization that true power is not in the clenched fist, but in the open hand. An open hand can give, it can receive, it can feel the breeze, it can hold another's hand gently. A clenched fist can only, ever, punch, or hold on. So how do we begin? Not with a grand gesture, not with a dramatic escape. The first step is subtle, quiet, and immensely powerful. It is the practice of pure observation. For the next day, just one day, become a compassionate witness to your own impulse to control. Do not try to change it. Do not judge it. Do not scold yourself for it. Simply notice. Watch it as you would watch a cloud drift across the sky. Notice the urge to steer a conversation toward a conclusion you have already decided upon. Just see it. Notice the mental rehearsal of a difficult meeting, playing it over and over, trying to control the uncontrollable reactions of another human being. Just acknowledge it. Feel the surge of sharp frustration when traffic, or a spilled coffee, or a slow computer disrupts your perfectly orchestrated schedule. Instead of reacting, just for a second, pause and whisper to your inner self, "Ah, there it is, the need to control." Notice how you subtly try to manage the emotions of your partner, your children, your friends, so that their happiness can make you feel secure. See the pattern without condemnation. Each time you do this, you are performing a sacred act. You are shining a gentle light of awareness into a dark, unconscious habit. You are not fighting the guard in your inner prison. You are simply sitting with him, acknowledging his fear, and letting him know that you are here now. You are the awareness, not the fear. You are the watcher, not the mechanism of control. This simple, repeated act of witnessing is the key. It begins to create a tiny space between the impulse and your reaction to it. And in that space, freedom is born. In that space, you begin to gently, almost imperceptibly, relax your fist. You are not forcing it open. You are simply ceasing the effort of clenching. And you are about to discover what happens when you finally do. We have felt the cold, smooth bars of the golden cage. We have acknowledged its existence. Now, we must do something braver. We must turn around and look at the architect. We must journey into the quiet, resonant chambers of the mind where the blueprints for this cage were first drawn. This is not a journey into the past to dwell there, but a sacred archaeological dig to understand our own foundations. The mind is not a blank slate, it is an echo chamber. Within its walls reverberate the phantom sounds of every significant word ever spoken to us, every powerful emotion we ever felt, every lesson, both gentle and harsh, that life has ever taught us. The need to control, this relentless impulse we wrestle with, was not born with you. It was programmed. It is a ghost you inherited, a script you were handed, a coat that was placed upon your shoulders when you were too young to know it did not fit. To find our freedom, we must first learn to recognize these echoes for what they are. Let us excavate this source code of control. The first lines are written in childhood, in the soft clay of our developing minds. They are written by the voices of the giants in our world, our parents, our teachers, our society. These voices, often full of love and good intentions, become our first inner monologue. Be a good boy. Be a nice girl. Don't make a mess. What will the neighbors think? Try harder. Each phrase is a tiny command, a piece of software that teaches us a fundamental and dangerous equation. My worthiness is conditional. It depends on my performance, on my ability to manage perceptions, on my success at not making mistakes. And so, the first program is installed, the program of self-monitoring. We learn to watch ourselves, to judge ourselves, to curb our spontaneity in favor of acceptable behavior. We become the vigilant warden of our own impulses. Then comes a more painful layer of programming, written by the sharp sting of criticism. Think back to a time you were judged harshly, laughed at, or told you were not good enough. A single careless word from someone we admire can feel like a branding iron on the soul. In that searing moment of shame, a vow is often made in the secret depths of our hearts. A silent, powerful vow that says, "Never again. I will never give them a reason to say that about me. I will be so perfect, so flawless, so beyond reproach that I will be safe from their judgment. This vow is not a conscious decision, it is a visceral reaction. But it becomes a rigid, unbreakable law. It becomes another bar in our cage. To enforce this law, we must control everything: our appearance, our work, our words, even our thoughts. We become hyper-vigilant, scanning for any potential flaw that might expose us to that pain again. The easy grace of simply being is sacrificed for the tense effort of performing. Deeper still, we find the code written by trauma. These are the moments when the world proved itself to be unsafe, unpredictable, and beyond our command. Moments of loss, of betrayal, of genuine helplessness where our small worlds were shattered. In the chaotic, terrifying aftermath of such an event, the psyche, in a brilliant and desperate act of self-preservation, makes a promise to itself. It is the most powerful and binding promise of all. It is the promise that says, "Never again will I be this helpless. From this day forward, I will be in charge. I will foresee every danger. I will anticipate every betrayal. I will trust no one and nothing completely. I will control my world so that I may never be this wounded again." This is the moment the blueprint for the fortress is drawn. It is a logical, understandable response to overwhelming pain. It was at the time a stroke of genius. It helped you survive. It got you here. The problem is not that this code was written. The problem is that the program is still running long after the original threat has passed. We are living in a peacetime world with a wartime mentality, fighting ghosts of battles that are long over. This creates the central conflict of our inner life, the ghost in the machine. Your conscious mind, the you that is listening to these words right now, wants to evolve. It wants freedom, peace, and trust. You read books, you meditate, you set intentions, you declare with all sincerity, "I want to let go." The past is in the past. But the unconscious program, the ghost in the machine, is not listening. It doesn't care about your newfound philosophy. It operates on a single prime directive from long ago: control equals survival. And so, you find yourself in a state of self-sabotage. You get close to a new level of freedom or intimacy, and the old alarm bells start ringing. You meet someone who is kind and open, and the program whispers, "It's a trap. It's too good to be true. Find the flaw before they hurt you." You face an opportunity that requires a leap of faith, and the echo of a past failure screams, "Danger! Remember the fall. Stay where it's safe." You find yourself clinging to the memory of your pain, because in a twisted way, it feels like protection. The memory of the burn is what keeps you from touching the fire, but you forget that it also prevents you from ever feeling warmth again. You are caught in a struggle between the desire to forgive and the instinct to use your wounds as a shield. Herein lies the essential truth that can set you free. You cannot build a future of freedom on a foundation of fear. The ground must be cleared. And the way to clear it is to finally, truly distinguish between an echo and a live voice. An echo is a memory of a sound, a vibration that remains after the source is gone. The echo of your parents' disapproval is not your parent disapproving of you now. The echo of a past betrayal is not reality betraying you now. The echoes only have power because you believe the room is still occupied. You are standing in an empty room, listening to a recording of a long-finished conversation, and you are treating it as a live event. The beauty and the power of this realization is immense, because if it is a recording, you have the power to press stop. If the room is empty, you have the power to open a window, to let in the fresh wind of the present moment, to let a new sound fill the space. The sound of your own true, authentic voice. Let us perform a ritual to do just that. This is not just an idea, it is an action you can take within your own energy field. We will practice the art of cutting the cords. Find a time and a place where you can be undisturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take several deep breaths, grounding yourself in the present moment. Now, allow a memory, a person, or a past event that is a source of your need to control to gently come to mind. Don't force it. Let the one that needs healing the most present itself. As you hold this image in your mind, visualize energetic cords, like threads of shadowy, heavy light, extending from your body, your stomach, your heart, your head end, connecting you to this memory. Feel the energy of these cords. They may feel draining, heavy, constricting. This is the energy of the past, feeding on the energy of your present. Acknowledge them without judgment. Now, in your dominant hand, imagine that you are holding an instrument of light. It could be a pair of glowing scissors, a sharp sword of light, a laser of pure energy. Choose what feels powerful to you. This is your tool of liberation. Bring this tool toward the cords. As you do, speak these words, either aloud or in the sanctuary of your heart. I acknowledge the role you have played in my life. You were created to protect me, and for that, I thank you. The lesson has been learned. The battle is over. My need for this connection is now complete. I release you with love. I release myself. Then, with a clear and decisive intention, use your tool of light to snip through every single cord. See them fall away. Watch as the ends attached to you dissolve into pure, clean light, returning your energy to you. Watch as the other ends retract, dissolving back into the past, returning that energy to where it belongs. Breathe deeply. Feel the new lightness in your being. Feel the space where the cords used to be. This is your sovereignty. This is you, reclaiming your power from the ghosts of yesterday. You are not erasing the past. You are simply refusing to let it haunt your present any longer. The room is becoming quiet. The echoes are fading. And now, we can begin to listen for something new. We have quieted the echoes of the past, clearing a space within the chambers of the mind. We stand now at the threshold of the present, looking toward the undiscovered country of the future. And what is the first tool we reach for? What is our most trusted companion for this journey? It is the map, a beautiful, intricate, and meticulously detailed map, drawn with the ink of our hopes and the fine-tipped pen of our expectations. We are all master cartographers of our own lives. We chart our route to happiness, we plot the coordinates of success, we draw bold lines toward a destination we call security. This map is our most prized possession. It gives us a sense of order, a feeling of command over the vast, sprawling wilderness of time. We fold it neatly and place it in our breast pocket, feeling its crisp edges as a comforting proof of our preparedness. But there is a fundamental, earth-shattering problem we eventually face. We unfold our perfect map, only to discover that we are not charting a static, solid continent. We are standing at the helm of a small boat in the middle of a living, breathing, ever-flowing river. This is the cult of the plan our modern world worships at this altar. We are taught to create 5-year plans, to set smart goals, to build vision boards that detail every aspect of our desired reality. These tools, in themselves, are not inherently flawed. They can be wonderful for providing clarity and direction. But a subtle and dangerous shift often occurs. We fall in love with the map more than the journey. We begin to worship the plan more than the life it is meant to serve. Our attachment to the blueprint becomes absolute, and this attachment is the hidden source of so much of our anxiety and frustration. When reality, in its infinite and unpredictable wisdom, deviates from our carefully drawn lines, we do not question the map. We condemn the river. We stand on the riverbank of our lives, shaking our fists at the current, shouting, "This shouldn't be happening. This waterfall was not in the plan. There was supposed to be a calm, straight passage here." We exhaust ourselves in this futile resistance to what is. We suffer not because life is difficult, but because we are infuriated that it is not following our script. Imagine a navigator in a boat, a road map spread across his lap. He ignores the feel of the current, the sound of the rapids ahead, the direction of the wind. His eyes are glued to the paper. He is trying to find the intersection of Fifth Avenue and Main Street, while the river carries him toward a deep and ancient canyon. To an outside observer, this is pure absurdity. Yet this is how we live our lives. We navigate the dynamic, fluid reality of our relationships, our careers, and our inner growth with the rigid, fixed mindset of a roadmap. We believe that if our plan is detailed enough, if our logic is sound enough, if our will is strong enough, we can force the river to straighten its course, to bend to the lines we have drawn. But the river does not care for our maps. It follows a much older, deeper, and more intelligent law. It follows the law of gravity, the shape of the earth, the pull of the moon. It flows where it must flow. To fight it is not strength. It is madness. This creates a profound rift within us, a battle between the cartographer and the swimmer. The cartographer is the part of us that loves the map. It is the ego, the planner, the strategist. It finds its identity and its worth in its ability to predict and to be right. The map is its masterpiece. When the map proves to be inaccurate, the cartographer doesn't feel curious. It feels a deep personal sense of failure and humiliation. It wants to retreat, to draw a new, even more detailed map, to regain the illusion of control. But then there is the swimmer. The swimmer is the deeper part of you, your embodied soul, your intuition. The swimmer is the one who is actually in the water. It feels the sudden cold of a deep pool, the surprising strength of an unseen current, the warmth of the sun on its back. The swimmer knows, on a cellular level, that the map is a useless fiction. It is a distraction from the vital, immediate task of navigating the water that is right here, right now. The swimmer wants to drop the map, to use its hands and feet, to feel its way through the living moment. The core of our struggle is this. We are terrified to let go of the map. Even when we know it is wrong, the map feels safer than no map at all. To fold it up and admit, I do not know what is around the next bend, feels like a terrifying failure. We would rather cling to the familiar comfort of our illusion than embrace the wild, liberating uncertainty of the truth. And so we stay in the boat, paralyzed, staring at our useless paper while the grand, beautiful, and sometimes dangerous river of life flows on without our full participation. Here we arrive at one of the most liberating truths a human can embrace. The map is not the territory. This is a simple phrase with world-altering implications. Your idea of your life is not your life. Your plan for your future is not your future. Your thoughts about a person are not that person. They are representations, sketches, simplified models, and we have been mistaking the model for the reality. The purpose of a good map, or a good plan, is not to be a rigid prediction of the future. Its purpose is to act as a compass. A compass does not tell you about the terrain you will cross. It does not warn you of the storms ahead or point out the hidden groves of fruit. It does one thing, and one thing only. It keeps you oriented in your chosen direction. Your plans should give you a why, a sense of purpose, a North Star to move toward. But the how, the specific path, must be left open to the infinite intelligence of the river itself. True wisdom lies in the willingness to abandon your identity as the cartographer in the safe, distant office, and to embrace your role as the navigator on the deck of the ship. The navigator respects the map, but trusts the river. The navigator's hands are on the tiller, eyes are on the horizon, and senses are open to the immediate feedback of the wind and the water. The plan is your servant, not your master. Let us put this into practice. Let us learn the art of flexible planning. By all means, continue to plan. Setting intentions is a powerful act of co-creation with the universe. So, write down your goals for the day, for the week. Set your compass. Point the nose of your boat toward your chosen North Star. Then, do something that will feel both terrifying and liberating. Intentionally schedule empty space. Take your calendar and block out a 30-minute or 1-hour slot. Label it river time, or space for grace, or divine detour. This is a conscious, active invitation for life to bring you something that is not on your map. It is a gesture of trust. Secondly, when the inevitable disruption occurs, it always will practice a radical new response. The old, unconscious response is a surge of frustration, a tightening in the chest, and the internal monologue. This is ruining everything. Why is this happening? The new, conscious practice is to pause, take a breath, and ask a different question. Ask it with genuine curiosity. Interesting. A detour. The river is flowing this way now. Where is it trying to take me? What is here for me that I did not plan to see? This practice is revolutionary. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. It converts frustration into fascination. You stop being a victim of the river's whims and become its dance partner. You are no longer fighting the current. You are learning to read it, to work with it, to trust that even when it takes you on a path you did not choose, it is always leading you home. So what happens when we ignore the wisdom of the river? What happens when we clutch our paper map with such ferocious denial that we fail to see the thundering waterfall right ahead? The answer is simple. It is inevitable. It is terrifying. We go over the edge. The boat of our well-laid plans shatters against the rocks. The map is torn to indecipherable shreds in the churning water, and we find ourselves washed ashore, gasping for breath, surrounded by the wreckage of our certainty. This is the moment the armor cracks. For years, decades even, we have been diligently constructing this suit of armor. It is the armor of control, of competence, of invulnerability. We forged it in the fires of our past pains and polished it with the cloth of our achievements. It served us, or so we thought. It deflected the minor insults, the small disappointments, the glancing blows of everyday life. We felt powerful within it, encased and protected. But life, in its immense and impartial power, eventually delivers a blow that the armor was never designed to withstand. And in a single deafening moment, it cracks. This moment has many names. We call it burnout. We call it a nervous breakdown. We call it an existential crisis, or the dark night of the soul. But beneath the labels, the experience is the same. It is the sudden, catastrophic failure of the entire operating system of the controlled self. It is the moment the fortress walls are breached, and everything we thought was solid turns to dust. Let us dissect this experience, for in understanding its anatomy, we rob it of its terror. Burnout is not simple tiredness. It is a state of profound, soul-level exhaustion. It is the cumulative fatigue that comes from decades of holding up the impossibly heavy armor of perfection. It is a spiritual depletion, a sense that the inner well has run completely dry, and there is nothing left to give. The existential crisis is the crumbling of meaning. It's the moment you reach the top of the ladder you have been frantically climbing your whole life, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. The goals that once drove you, the promotion, the status, the acquisitions, suddenly feel like hollow trinkets. The why that fueled your relentless effort evaporates, leaving you in a bewildering vacuum. You look at your life and ask, is this all there is? And the silence that answers is deafening. Then there is the sledgehammer blow of sudden loss. The unexpected end of a relationship, the loss of a career, the death of a loved one. These are not cracks. These are gaping holes torn in the fabric of our controlled reality. They are life's most brutal and direct reminders that, ultimately, we are in charge of very little. In all these cases, what is truly happening is the death of the false self. The identity we constructed, the competent one, the strong one, the one who always has a plan, the one who never falters, is exposed as a fiction. And the death of an identity, even a false and constricting one, feels exactly like a real death. It is terrifying because we have forgotten who we are without the armor. We look at the shattered pieces on the ground and think, if I am not that, then who am I? What is left? In the heart of this chaos, an intense inner conflict rages. The first and most overwhelming response is panic. The ego, the architect of the armor, sounds every alarm bell. System failure. Red alert. The walls are down. We are vulnerable. It screams for immediate action. We must patch the armor. Now, this panic manifests as a frantic, desperate desire to get back to normal. We try to force ourselves to go through the motions, to pretend we are fine. We berate ourselves for our weakness. We search frantically for a quick fix, a new strategy, a 10-step plan to overcome our breakdown. Ironically, we try to use the very tools of control to fix the devastation caused by control. We declare war on our own collapse, trying to willpower our way back into an armor that no longer fits and can no longer be worn. But listen, beneath the siren call of panic, if you can be still for just a moment, you might feel something else. It is a quiet, subversive, and almost shameful feeling. It is the feeling of relief. It is the deep, shuddering exhale of the prisoner who has been set free, even though his cage was the only home he ever knew. It is the feeling of the soldier, standing on a silent battlefield, finally laying down a weapon that had become a part of his own body, a burden of impossible weight. This is the part of you, the deep, authentic self, that was suffocating inside the armor. It is the part that is not afraid of the mess, because the mess means the performance is finally over. The conflict, then, is between the panicked ego scrambling to rebuild the prison walls and the liberated soul taking its first shaky breath of fresh, open air. This is the moment of greatest peril and of greatest possibility. Here is the sacred truth you must hold on to like a lifeline in this storm. The cracks are not a sign of your weakness. They are the proof of your strength. The cracks are how the light gets in. This breakdown is not your destruction. It is your deconstruction. It is the necessary and holy act of taking apart a false structure to make way for a true one. Think of a seed. For the life within it to emerge, its hard, protective shell must be broken. It must be shattered. The force that breaks the seed is not a punishment. It is the very force of life itself, pushing its way toward the sun. You are that seed. Your old identity, the hard shell of your ego self, has become too small for the life that is waiting to be born within you. The universe, in its infinite love and wisdom, is not breaking you. It is breaking you open. The pain of this experience is not a sign that you are fundamentally flawed. It is a sign that you are growing. They are growing pains. You are shedding a skin that you have outgrown. This is not an ending. This is the most important beginning of your entire life. So what is the practical path through this sacred demolition? The world will give you one piece of advice. Pull yourself together. I am here to give you the opposite. The wisest, most compassionate, and most healing thing you can do right now is to give yourself radical permission to fall apart. This is the sacred art of unbecoming. First, for today, for this hour, for the next 5 minutes, officially abandon the project of fixing yourself. You are not a broken appliance. You are a human being undergoing a profound transformation. Lay down your tools. Surrender your need to understand it all right now. Just stop. Second, create a space to simply sit with the pieces. Don't try to reassemble them. Don't catalog them. Don't judge them. Just be with them. If you feel broken, then feel broken. If you feel lost, feel lost. If you are terrified, allow the terror to be there without needing it to go away. Wrap a blanket around yourself and allow yourself to be exactly as you are, in pieces. Finally, you must create an outlet for the immense energy that is being released. This breakdown is a great emotional dam bursting. A lifetime of unfelt grief, unexpressed anger, and silent fear is now flowing. You must let it move. Cry. Do not be ashamed of your tears. They are holy water, purifying your soul. Scream into a pillow. Write in a journal, pouring out every ugly, incoherent, and terrifying thought without censorship. Go into nature and walk, letting the earth absorb your pain. This is not self-indulgence. This is a sacred ritual of purification. You are creating a safe container for a part of you to die, so that a truer, more resilient, and more beautiful part of you can finally be born. You are the holy ground upon which this death and rebirth is taking place. Be gentle with this ground. It is the beginning of everything. We sit now in the quiet aftermath. The dust of our shattered armor settles around us, glittering in a strange new light. The alarms have finally ceased. The frantic energy of the breakdown has subsided into a vast, empty, and unfamiliar silence. In this silence, a choice presents itself. It is not a grand plan to rebuild. It is not a strategy for recovery. It is something far more subtle, far more terrifying, and far more powerful. It is an invitation to take a single breath, but this is no ordinary breath. This is the first conscious, terrifying breath of surrender. The word itself can make us recoil. Surrender. Our culture has taught us that this is a word of defeat. It conjures images of failure, of giving up, of waving a white flag in a battle we have lost. But we must now unlearn this definition. In the vocabulary of the soul, surrender is perhaps the most courageous and potent word there is. It is not the act of a victim. It is the conscious, powerful choice of a master. It is the wisdom to stop fighting a battle you were never meant to win, the battle against the flow of life itself. To take this first breath is to agree to step off the solid ground of what you know and into a thick, impenetrable fog. You cannot see the path ahead. You have no map. All you have is the willingness to take one single step. Let us redefine this sacred act. The ego, the part of you that built the armor, sees life as a war. It is a constant struggle for territory, for advantage, for control. In this worldview, surrender is, unequivocally, losing. It is admitting that the opposing force, be it a person, a circumstance, or life itself, is stronger than you are. It is the ultimate humiliation. But the soul, the deeper consciousness that is now stirring within you, sees life not as a war, but as a river. In this worldview, what does it mean to fight the river? It means swimming frantically against the current, splashing, struggling, exhausting all of your energy, only to be pushed backward, to be battered against the rocks, to drown in your own resistance. What then is surrender in this context? Surrender is the supreme intelligence of ceasing the struggle. It is the wisdom of turning onto your back, looking up at the sky, and allowing the current that you were fighting to become the very force that supports you, that carries you. It is not passivity. It is a highly conscious act of cooperation. It is an active and deliberate unclenching of every muscle of resistance in your body, mind, and spirit. This act challenges the deepest survival programming we have. Every instinct screams, struggle, kick, fight. If you stop, you will drown. To override that primal panic with a quiet, trusting stillness is the ultimate act of faith. It is not giving up, it is giving over. It is handing the oars to a rower who knows the river far better than you ever could. This choice precipitates the most intense drama of the inner world. It is the fear of falling versus the yearning to fly. The moment you contemplate true surrender, the ego, your inner guardian, will launch its most terrifying campaign of fear. Its logic is brutal and seems irrefutable. It will scream at you, "Are you insane? If you let go of this branch, you will fall." There is no evidence of a safety net below. All of our life experience proves that you must hold on to survive. This is not wisdom, this is suicide. It will project a horror film onto the screen of your mind. Images of homelessness, of failure, of being alone, of being consumed by the very chaos you have fought so hard to keep at bay. This voice is loud, familiar, and persuasive. But on the other side, there is a new sensation. It is not a logical argument. It is a quiet, deep, and profound weariness of holding on to the branch. It is a cellular exhaustion from the endless strain, and mingled with the exhaustion is a flicker of holy curiosity, a whisper that asks, "But what if the ego is wrong? What if this branch I'm clinging to is not saving me from the fall, but preventing me from discovering that I have wings? What if what I fear is the abyss is actually the open sky?" This is the ultimate existential choice. Do you listen to the loud, familiar voice of fear, which has kept you safe but imprisoned? Or do you take a chance on the quiet, unfamiliar whisper of faith, which promises nothing, guarantees nothing, yet feels more true than anything you have ever known? It is the moment the trapeze artist lets go of the bar. For a timeless instant, they are suspended in pure potential, a space between what was and what will be. That space is surrender. And here is the core message you must receive in that suspended moment, the truth that makes the leap possible. You do not let go to fall into an abyss. You let go to be held. The universe is not a cold, empty void waiting to swallow you. It is a living, intelligent, and benevolent presence waiting to support you. The ground you fear losing is the treacherous, unstable ground of your own anxious thinking. The safety you will discover is the unshakable ground of being itself. But you cannot feel that deep, supportive presence while your fists are still clenched, while your focus is still locked on the branch of control. The letting go is the prerequisite. It is the admission that your own power is limited, and in that admission, a greater power becomes available to you. You must be willing to step into the fog. The nature of the spiritual path is that it is not illuminated for you in advance. You are not given a 5-year plan for your awakening. You are given only enough light for the very next step. Faith is not the ability to see the entire staircase. Faith is the courage to place your foot on the next, dark, invisible step, trusting that it will solidify beneath you the moment your weight rests upon it. So how do we practice this monumental act? We start small. We do not begin by surrendering our entire life, our career, our family. That is too much to ask of a muscle we have never used. We begin by training the muscle of surrender with a small, manageable weight. We perform the ritual of the leaf. Find a quiet moment. Close your eyes. Take a few deep, grounding breaths, feeling your connection to the earth beneath you. Now, choose one small thing that you are currently worrying about. A looming deadline. A difficult conversation you need to have. A minor pain in your body. Choose something that you are mentally clenching around. Something you are trying to figure out or control. Now, in your mind's eye, visualize yourself standing on the bank of a beautiful, clear, gently flowing river. The sun is warm, the air is clean. In your hand, you are holding a single, perfect leaf. With your intention, place the energy of your worry onto this leaf. Feel the anxiety, the need for a specific outcome. The fear of the unknown infuse the leaf with all of it. See it shimmer with the tense energy of your control. Now, with a gesture of reverence, lean down and gently place the leaf on the surface of the water. Do not throw it. Do not push it. Place it and let it go. As your fingers release it, say these two powerful words, either aloud or in your heart. I release. I trust. Now, just watch. Watch as the current catches the leaf. Watch as it begins to drift, to float, to be carried gently downstream. It bobs and weaves, following the river's perfect intelligence. It is no longer your burden. It is no longer your problem to solve. The river has it now. Watch until it disappears from sight around a bend. And now, be still. Turn your attention inward. What do you feel in your body? A softening in your jaw? A dropping of your shoulders? A warmth in your belly? That physical sensation is the evidence. It is the language of your body, confirming the truth that surrender is safety. Surrender is peace. Practice this with the small things every day. With every leaf you release, you are teaching your nervous system, cell by cell, that letting go does not lead to death. It leads to life. We have stood at the river's edge and made our first offering, releasing a single leaf onto its current as a gesture of nascent trust. Now, we must go further. We must wade into the water itself. It is time to stop seeing the river as merely a force outside of us, a receptacle for our worries, and begin to see it as a master teacher, a living guru, a perfect embodiment of the wisdom we seek. To truly understand the art of letting go, we must apprentice ourselves to the element that perfected it. We must study the profound and simple wisdom of water. The controlling mind that we are working to release is like ice. The trusting, surrendered mind we wish to cultivate is like water. They are the same substance, yet they exist in profoundly different states of being, with vastly different capacities. To heal is to learn how to melt. Let us first examine the mind as ice. Think of a sheet of ice on a winter lake. It is solid, rigid, defined. It creates sharp edges, flat planes, and clear boundaries. It appears strong, stable, and utterly dependable. You can stand on it, build on it, measure it. This is the nature of our controlling ego mind. It loves structures, rules, fixed beliefs, and unwavering opinions. It creates dogmas, ideologies, and rigid moral codes. This is right, and that is wrong. This is how things must be done. This is my identity. It provides us with a feeling of certainty in a chaotic world. The mind as ice builds a predictable, solid reality for us to stand upon, and for a time, this feels like security. But what is the true nature of ice? What is its hidden vulnerability? When confronted with a sudden pressure, a sharp impact, a force greater than its own structural integrity, ice does not bend. It does not adapt. It shatters. With a sound like a gunshot, the entire perfect, solid structure fragments into 1,000 sharp, disconnected pieces. This is the anatomy of our breakdown. When life delivers a shock that does not conform to our rigid worldview, when our beliefs are challenged, when our plans are derailed, when our identity is threatened, the mind of ice shatters into anxiety, anger, despair, and confusion. Its strength is a brittle strength. Its power is a fragile power, utterly dependent on conditions remaining exactly as it is decreed they should be. Now, let us turn our contemplation to the mind as water. Think of the river. Water has no fixed form, yet it is the master of all forms. It has no sharp edges, yet it can find its way through the smallest of cracks. It is the softest thing on earth, yet it overcomes all that is hard. The defining characteristic of water is that it yields, and in its yielding, it conquers. This is the model for the surrendered mind. A mind like water holds no fixed opinions. It holds awareness. It does not cling to a single identity. It is free to be what the moment requires. When the mind as water encounters an obstacle, a great stone in its path, it does not declare war. It does not waste a single drop of its energy trying to smash the stone. It performs a miracle of quiet intelligence. It pauses. It feels the entire shape of the obstacle. And then, without any sense of frustration or defeat, it begins to flow around it. It explores every available alternative simultaneously. It goes left. It goes right. It rises above. It seeps beneath. It does not have a plan. It has a nature, and its nature is to move, to flow, to seek the path of least resistance, and to continue, always, on its inevitable journey to the sea. This is a different kind of power. It is not the explosive power of force, but the irresistible power of persistence. The Grand Canyon was not carved by the violence of water, but by its supreme patience. For millennia, the river yielded to the stone, moment by moment, while simultaneously wearing the stone away. This is the great paradox and the great lesson. In its softness, water is unstoppable. This presents us with a clear inner conflict, a choice we make in every moment. It is the choice between building a dam and becoming the flow. Our conditioned reflex, born of the mind as ice, is to build dams. When the emotions and events of life feel too overwhelming, too fast, too powerful, our instinct is to try and stop them. We build dams of denial, saying this isn't happening. We build dams of suppression, gritting our teeth and forcing our feelings down. We build dams of blame, making the river's flow someone else's fault. We believe that if we can just stop the river, we can finally get it under control, contain it, and be safe. But what happens to the water behind a dam? Its life force is arrested. The water grows stagnant, murky, and putrid. The pressure begins to build, silently, relentlessly, against the rigid structure of our resistance. The dam groans under the strain, and eventually, inevitably, the pressure becomes too great. The dam doesn't just leak, it bursts. This is the nature of an emotional explosion, a fit of rage, or a sudden collapse into despair. It is the catastrophic failure of a strategy that was doomed from the start. The invitation of wisdom is to stop being a dam builder. It is to have the courage to dismantle the dams, piece by piece, and to trust the flow. It is the choice between the stagnant death of control and the vibrant, moving, and sometimes turbulent life of surrender. The core message, echoed for thousands of years by the wisest traditions of humanity, is simple and direct. Become like water. This is not a poetic suggestion. It is a practical instruction for living. What does it mean in your life today? In a heated argument, when faced with the hard, rocky opinions of another, it means you cease to be a rock yourself. You do not meet rigidity with more rigidity. You become water. You listen. You flow around their defenses. You seek the soft, human point of connection rather than trying to win the battle of ideas. When you face a career setback, a closed door, becoming like water means you do not waste your life force battering against it. You pause. You feel the shape of the new landscape. And you allow your curiosity to flow toward the other doors, the other pathways that have now become visible. In your closest relationships, to be like water is to be receptive, to be present. It is the ability to hold the emotions of another, their anger, their grief within your own loving presence, just as the ocean accepts every river without being disturbed by them. It is to be adaptable, responsive, and humble. Remember, a great rock can be seen as an obstacle and can be easily bypassed. But a river cannot be bypassed. Sooner or later, everything must reckon with the river. Its quiet, yielding persistence is its ultimate power. Let us now anchor this wisdom in a practice. We can call it the water contemplation. The next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, a point of friction at work, a conflict at home, a feeling of being stuck or blocked, I invite you to pause. Before you react, before you try to solve it with your usual icy logic, take a moment, close your eyes, take one deep breath, and bring to your mind the living image of water. It could be a mighty river, the vast ocean, the gentle persistence of rain, or even the water flowing from a tap. Connect with the essential nature of water. Then, ask a simple question, not to your intellect, but to your body, to your intuition. Ask, what would water do here? And then listen in the silence. Don't rush for an answer. Just explore the possibilities with the feeling sense of your inner world. Would water attempt to smash through this wall of resistance? Or would it grow quiet and still, pooling its strength until it could simply rise over the top of the obstacle? Would water find a tiny, almost invisible crack and patiently, gently begin to seep through? Would it, without any sense of shame, simply turn back and find a completely different route? Would it join with other streams, gathering collective power? There is no single correct answer. The purpose of this question is to instantly shift your state of consciousness. It yanks you out of the rigid, narrow-minded panic of the ego and drops you into the vast, creative, fluid intelligence of your deeper self. It opens up 100 possibilities where before you only saw a single wall. Let the answer that resonates most deeply within you guide your next gentle, flowing action. You will be amazed at how the walls you thought were solid rock begin to soften and dissolve. To learn the way of water, to feel its subtle currents and its unerring wisdom, we must cultivate a new sense. It is a sense that is not located in our eyes or our ears, but in the very core of our being. It is the capacity to listen, not to the clamor of the world, nor even to the frantic monologue within our own skulls. We must learn to listen to the one thing our modern world has trained us to fear and avoid at all costs. We must learn to listen to the silence. All the answers you have been searching for, all the peace you have been craving, all the guidance you have been praying for, do not exist in the realm of noise. They dwell in the vast, still, and fertile landscape of silence. To enter this landscape is the next step on our journey. It is the foundation upon which the entire practice of trust is built. For you cannot trust a universe whose whispers you cannot hear. Our controlling mind is a factory of noise. It is its primary function and its primary product. Consider the texture of your own thoughts for a moment. There is the relentless hum of the production line, the planning, the scheduling, the calculating. There is the frantic clatter of the risk assessment department, the worrying, the catastrophizing, the endless what-if scenarios. There is the mournful echo of the archives department, replaying past mistakes, past hurts, past conversations on an infinite loop. There is the shouting of the sales department, rehearsing future conversations, trying to convince, to manage, to win. This internal cacophony is the ego's primary strategy for maintaining the illusion of control. It believes that if it is constantly thinking, calculating, and worrying, it is doing something. It mistakes this frantic mental activity for productive action. The noise gives it a sense of purpose, and, most importantly, it prevents the ego from having to face its greatest fear, the vast, empty space of the unknown. To aid in this strategy of avoidance, we have built a world that is a perfect external reflection of our noisy minds. We have become a culture addicted to noise. We wake up and turn on the news or a podcast. We drive to work with the radio blasting. We work in open-plan offices filled with chatter. We jog with headphones pumping music into our ears. We fill every spare moment, every tiny gap of potential stillness, with the scroll of a social media feed, the next episode of a series, the constant influx of information. Silence has become the ultimate discomfort. It is an awkward pause in a conversation, a moment of boredom to be instantly vanquished. Why are we so terrified of it? Because in the silence, there is nothing left to distract us from ourselves. In the silence, the unresolved grief we have been pushing down begins to surface. The deep-seated fears we numb with busyness begin to stir. The profound existential questions about our life's purpose begin to echo in the emptiness. Noise is our anesthetic. It is our sedative against the raw, unfiltered experience of being. And the cost of this addiction is catastrophic. We have become so adept at broadcasting our own noise that we have lost the capacity to receive any signal. We are deaf to the subtle whispers of our own intuition, the quiet nudges of inspiration, and the gentle, guiding intelligence of life itself. We must now perform a great act of rebellion. We must reclaim the sacred architecture of silence. We must understand that silence is not an emptiness to be feared, but a fullness to be embraced. Silence is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything. It is the foundational canvas upon which all of creation is painted. It is the womb of all sound, all thought, all music, all creativity. Think of a piece of music that has moved you to your core. Its beauty is born not only from the notes that are played, but equally from the rests, the pauses, the moments of silence between the notes. That silence is what gives the notes their shape, their power, their emotional resonance. A life lived without moments of inner silence is like a piece of music with no rests, a relentless, meaningless, and ultimately unbearable barrage of sound. When you dare to cease the frantic noise of your own mind, you do not disappear into a void. You do not cease to exist. On the contrary, for the first time, you truly arrive. You arrive into the vast, peaceful, and intelligent spaciousness that was always there, patiently waiting for you beneath the surface of the chatter. This silence is a presence. It is alive, it is conscious, and it is the very ground of your being. Of course, your conditioned mind will fight this. The first time you consciously decide to sit in silence, you will experience a form of withdrawal. The noise-addicted part of your mind will immediately begin to crave its fix. Your body will become restless, agitated. Your leg will start to jiggle. You will suddenly feel an urgent need to scratch an itch. Your mind will race. inventing 1,000 seemingly critical tasks that must be done right now. I forgot to send that email. I need to plan dinner. Did I pay that bill? This is the addict's panic. It feels intensely uncomfortable, and the temptation to give in, to get up and do something, will be immense. But if you can stay, if you can simply watch this inner tantrum without engaging it, another part of you will begin to stir. It is the seeker, the soul, the deep self, and it recognizes this silence as a long-lost home. It feels a sense of peace, a sense of relief, even if it is very faint at first beneath the addict's screaming. This is the conflict, the conditioned terror of the void versus the soul's innate recognition of its own sacred source. You must understand that the discomfort is a temporary and necessary phase. It is the agitated mud finally being given a chance to settle in a jar of water. Your only job is to not shake the jar. This brings us to the core message of this entire journey. The universe whispers, it does not shout. The profound guidance, the creative breakthroughs, the flashes of genius, the simple answers to your most complex problems, they do not arrive in the middle of a mental hurricane. They arrive in the calm eye of the storm. They are delivered in the pause. Your higher self, the voice of God, the wisdom of life, does not compete with the noise of your ego. It waits, patiently, for a moment of stillness. It speaks in the subtle language of a gut feeling, a quiet knowing, a synchronous encounter, a sudden inspiration that seems to come from nowhere. To hear this whisper, you must be quiet. You must create intentional, sacred gaps in the noise of your life. The answers you are so desperately trying to figure out and control are not out there to be hunted down. They are in here, waiting to be received. And reception requires a silent receiver. Now, we come to a practice. It is perhaps the simplest, most difficult, and most transformative practice you will ever undertake. I call it the 5-minute sit. Its power is in its absolute stark simplicity. For the next week, I invite you to do the following. Once a day, find a place where you can be physically undisturbed for just 5 minutes. Set a gentle timer so you are not tempted to check the time. Sit down on a chair or a cushion. You can close your eyes, or you can leave them gently open with a soft, unfocused gaze. Now, for the next 5 minutes, you will do absolutely nothing. I must be very clear. This is not a meditation where you focus on your breath. This is not a prayer where you speak to a deity. This is not a time for positive affirmations or visualizations. You have only one single instruction. Listen to the silence. That is all. Your mind will erupt in noise. It will make lists, solve problems, rehash dramas, and worry about the future. Do not fight it. Do not engage it. Do not judge it. Simply let it be the weather in the sky. Your job is to ignore the weather and listen for the sky itself. Your job is to return your attention, again and again, to the simple act of listening for the silence that exists behind, beneath, and between the noise of your thoughts. At first, you may feel that the silence is non-existent. You will hear only the cacophony, but if you persist, day after day, something miraculous will happen. You will begin to notice the gaps. You will feel the presence of the silence itself. It will begin to feel like a warm, comforting blanket. These 5 minutes of doing nothing will become the most fertile and nourishing 5 minutes of your entire day. You are not wasting time. You are digging the well from which all true wisdom, peace, and guidance flows. As we faithfully practice sitting in the quiet, as the agitated mud of our minds begins to settle, we notice something remarkable. The silence is not entirely empty. It is not a dead void. It is a space that is alive, and within it, distinct voices can be heard. At first, they are tangled together, a confusing inner monologue. But with patient listening, we can begin to distinguish them. 2 primary voices emerge from the stillness, 2 fundamental frequencies that broadcast from the core of our being. One is a roar, the other a whisper. One is loud, insistent, and born of fear. The other is quiet, steady, and born of love. One is the voice of the guard of our old prison, still shouting warnings and protocols. The other is the voice of the guide who has come to lead us to freedom. Learning to discern these two voices, the roar of the ego and the whisper of the soul, is the most critical navigational skill we will ever develop. It is the art of reading our own inner compass. Let us first study the quality of the ego's roar. It is the voice we know best, the one that has been running our lives for decades. Its defining characteristic is its volume and its urgency. It is loud, it screams for our attention. It feels frantic, demanding, and full of pressure. It often speaks in the language of absolutes. You must do this. You should never have said that. This is always how it goes. You have no choice. This voice is fueled by one primary emotion: fear. It is the voice of the survival mechanism, the part of us that is terrified of not being enough, of not having enough, of not being safe. It is born from the fear of insufficiency, whispering that we are flawed and must constantly strive to fix ourselves. It is born from the fear of annihilation, painting catastrophic pictures of failure and rejection. It is born from the fear of scarcity, insisting that life is a competition and we must fight for our share. The language of the ego is the language of comparison, constantly measuring you against others. Who is smarter? Who is more successful? Who is more enlightened? It is the language of judgment, endlessly categorizing the world into good and bad, right and wrong. The ego loves complexity and drama. It will take a simple situation and spin it into a multi-act play filled with intrigue, betrayal, and potential disaster, with you as the tormented star. It does this because it feels important and intelligent when it is busy figuring things out. And notice how this voice feels in your body. When the ego is roaring, your body contracts, your jaw clenches, your stomach ties itself in a knot, your shoulders creep up toward your ears, your breath becomes shallow. It is the unmistakable physical posture of a body preparing for a fight, for a threat, for an impact. It is the feeling of bracing yourself against life. Now, let us tune our listening to a different frequency. Let us learn the quality of the soul's whisper. The soul, your higher self, your inner wisdom, does not need to shout. Its nature is one of quiet confidence. Its voice is calm, steady, and gentle. It feels spacious and timeless. It doesn't push, demand, or create pressure. It simply invites. It presents a truth and allows you to resonate with it. The soul's guidance often doesn't come as a complex train of thought, but as a simple, clear, and sudden knowing. It is a flash of insight, a gut feeling, an intuitive hit that lands in your awareness with a quiet thud of truth. This voice is fueled by one primary emotion: love. It operates from a baseline of trust, connection, and a deep understanding of your inherent wholeness. It is born from a sense of sufficiency, whispering the constant, unwavering truth that you are already complete, already worthy, already enough. It is born from a sense of trust, knowing that everything is unfolding in perfect time and for your highest good, even when it is uncomfortable. It is born from a sense of abundance, seeing the universe as a generous and supportive field of infinite possibility. The language of the soul is the language of unity and compassion. It does not compare, for it knows that all are part of the same whole. It does not judge. It seeks only to understand. The soul loves simplicity. It has the profound ability to cut through all the ego's drama and complexity to reveal the one simple, elegant truth at the heart of the matter. And how does this voice feel in your body? When you are hearing the whisper of your soul, your body expands. Your shoulders relax and drop. Your chest opens. Your breath deepens naturally and effortlessly. You may feel a sense of warmth, of peace, of lightness. It is the unmistakable physical posture of a body that feels safe, open, and at ease. It is the feeling of coming home to yourself. With these two voices so clearly defined, a common spiritual ambition arises, the desire to kill the ego. We see it as the enemy, the source of our suffering, a dragon that must be slain. But this is a profound misunderstanding, a trap that creates more inner conflict, not less. The ego is not an evil entity to be vanquished. It is a functional part of your human psychology whose primary job is to protect your physical and psychological self. The problem is that it is operating from old data, from the fears and traumas of your past. It is like an overzealous and deeply anxious guard dog, barking furiously at every shadow, believing every stranger is a threat. You do not help a terrified animal by beating it. You help it by showing it compassion. You get down on its level, you speak to it in a calm voice, and you reassure it over and over again. It's okay. You are safe. I am here. Thank you for trying so hard to protect me, but I've got this now. This is the core message you must learn to give your own ego. When its roar of fear begins, do not fight it, do not suppress it. Turn toward it with kindness. Acknowledge its fear. Thank it for its vigilance, and gently reassure it. When you treat your ego like a frightened child instead of a mortal enemy, a miracle happens. It begins to calm down. Its frantic roar subsides into a manageable murmur, and then, eventually, into a quiet hum. You are not trying to hear the whisper over the roar. You are calming the roar so that the whisper is all that is left to hear. Let us put this discernment into practice with a simple, powerful tool for decision-making. You can use this for everything, from choosing what to eat for lunch to making a life-altering career change. We can call it the litmus test of decision. When you find yourself at a crossroads, faced with a choice, pause. Do not rush to a logical conclusion. Take a breath and drop your awareness out of your head and into your body. Consider the first option. Hold it in your mind. Live with it for a moment. Now, ask your body the first question. Does this choice feel like contraction or expansion? Pay attention to the raw physical data. Does the thought of this choice make your stomach tighten, your shoulders tense, your breath shorten? That is contraction. Or does it make your chest feel open, your body relax, a sense of lightness arise? That is expansion. Your body cannot lie. It is a perfect barometer for energetic truth. Now, ask the second, deeper question. What is the fuel for this choice? Is it fear or is it love? Be radically honest with yourself. Are you leaning toward this choice because you are afraid of what will happen if you don't choose it? Are you trying to avoid disapproval, failure, or discomfort? That is a choice fueled by fear. Or are you leaning toward it because it genuinely excites you, because it feels authentic, because it aligns with your deepest values and your sense of joyful curiosity? That is a choice fueled by love. The path of trust, the path of the soul, is always, without exception, the path of expansion and love. The path of the ego is the path of contraction and fear. Practice this litmus test. Make it a habit. By doing so, you are training yourself to bypass the ego's deceptive and complex arguments, and to navigate your life by the one true compass you possess, the unerring, simple, and silent wisdom of your own soul. We have learned to quiet the mind, to sit in the silent sanctuary of our own being, and in that stillness, we have begun to hear the whisper of the soul, the unerring reading of our inner compass. It points us toward a new shore, a new direction. But now we face a critical question. How do we walk this new path? How do we move, act, and create in the world from this place of inner guidance? The action required by trust is profoundly, fundamentally different from the frantic, forceful action demanded by control. To take the guidance of the whisper and bring it into reality, we must now learn an entirely new way of doing. We must learn the sacred art of planting seeds in the dark. First, we must understand the way of the frantic gardener. This is the action of the ego, the action of control. The frantic gardener is possessed by an agonizing impatience. They believe that the moment a seed is planted, a sprout should appear. This demand for immediate results comes from a deep and painful insecurity. The ego needs constant external validation to feel that its actions are correct and meaningful. It sends an important email and then refreshes its inbox every 30 seconds, its anxiety growing with each moment of silence. It makes a courageous phone call and then dissects the conversation for days, desperate for proof that it worked. The frantic gardener cannot bear the silence of the soil, the sacred pause where growth happens invisibly. The darkness of the unknown feels like failure. Because of this insecurity, the frantic gardener believes that the outcome is directly proportional to the amount of force applied. They do not trust the natural process of growth. They believe they must make the seed grow. They water it with micromanagement, constantly checking in, pestering, and prodding. They try to pull on the non-existent sprout, attempting to force a result before it's time. They get angry at the soil, growing frustrated and resentful that the process is not adhering to their timeline. They are completely and rigidly attached to a single, specific outcome. They have a photograph of the perfect red rose they intend to grow. If a beautiful yellow tulip begins to sprout instead, they see it not as a surprising gift from the universe, but as a catastrophic failure of their control. This frantic, forceful energy is entirely counterproductive. In their anxiety, they trample the very ground they wish to be fertile. They flood the seed with the desperate energy of their neediness, and they block the warm, life-giving sun with the cold shadow of their own doubt. Now, let us turn to the way of the wise farmer. This is the action of trust. The wise farmer's action begins with a deep sense of intention. They do not scatter seeds randomly in a panic. They feel the season, they study the soil. They choose the right seed, the action that is truly aligned with the soul's whisper. They plant this seed not with frantic haste, but with mindfulness and reverence. They know that this initial act of planting is a sacred partnership between them and the universe. And here is where the path diverges completely. The moment the seed is in the ground, the wise farmer's primary work shifts from doing to being. They perform the great and holy act of letting go. They release their attachment to the outcome. They do not demand a rose and curse the arrival of a tulip. They simply trust. They trust in the unseen, immutable laws of nature. They trust the fertility of the soil, the nourishment of the rain, the life-giving power of the sun. They know, in the very marrow of their bones, that their job was the planting. The growing belongs to a power far greater than themselves. This letting go is not passive neglect. The wise farmer does not abandon the field. They continue to tend it with patient care. They water the soil when it is dry, offering gentle encouragement or a thoughtful follow-up. They diligently pull the weeds, clearing away the invasive thoughts of doubt, fear, and worry that can choke a new endeavor. They protect the field, maintaining their own high vibration of faith and positive expectation. But there is one thing they never ever do. They never dig up the seed to see if it is growing. They have an unshakable faith in the process that is happening in the darkness beneath the surface. They know that this is the most critical phase, the time when the roots are taking hold, establishing the foundation for all future growth. This period of unseen development does not give them anxiety. It gives them a quiet sense of awe. Their faith is the most powerful nutrient they can offer the seed. Herein lies the greatest challenge for us all, the agony of the in-between, the time that exists between the moment we plant our seed of action and the moment we see the first green sprout emerge from the soil. This is the dark night of the seed. In this period of no feedback, of no external evidence, the ego will stage its most ferocious rebellion. It will scream at you. You were a fool to trust. Nothing is happening. It's not working. You did it wrong. You should have done more, pushed harder. The urge to panic, to dig up the seed, to abandon the field and revert to the old ways of force and control will feel almost unbearable. This is the crucible where true faith is forged. Can you hold the vibration of trust when the world gives you no reason to? Can you remain in a state of calm, joyful expectation, knowing that the most important work is happening invisibly? To be able to rest in this fertile darkness, to be at peace with the unseen process, is to have mastered the action of trust. This brings us to the core message. Your action is the seed. Your trust is the soil. You are responsible for both. You must choose a high-quality seed, an action that is aligned with your soul's deepest truth. But just as importantly, you must cultivate a fertile soil within your own consciousness for that seed to grow in. If the soil of your mind is filled with the hard rocks of doubt, the thorny weeds of fear, and the toxic poison of impatience, even the most perfect, divinely inspired seed will struggle to take root. Your state of being after you act is just as important as the act itself. Your faith, your patience, your calm expectation, these are the rich soil, the warm sun, and the gentle rain that your intentions need to thrive. You cannot force a flower to bloom by prying open its petals with your fingers. You can only provide the perfect conditions and allow the flower's own innate intelligence to unfold in its own perfect time. Your primary role after you take action is to become a master gardener of your own inner state. Let us seal this understanding with a simple, practical ritual. This is a ritual of release designed to create a clear, energetic demarcation between your part and the universe's part. The next time you take a soul-guided action, sending that important proposal, making that vulnerable phone call, publishing that creative work, do the following. The very moment the action is complete, the instant you press send or hang up the phone, perform this ritual. If you can, stand up, straighten your spine, take one deep, cleansing breath. As you exhale, open your hands and turn your palms toward the sky in a gesture of release. Then, say these words aloud, with as much sincerity and conviction as you can muster. I have done my part with love and presence. The how and the when are not my work to do. I release this completely to the wisdom of the universe. I trust the process. Feel the truth of these words. This is not a passive plea. It is an active and sovereign declaration. It is a command to your own subconscious mind and a signal to the universe that you are now shifting from the energy of control to the energy of trust. You are closing the loop on your part of the task and creating a wide-open, receptive space for grace, synchronicity, and magic to do their part. This is the moment the wise farmer stands up, wipes the soil from his hands, looks to the sky with a peaceful heart, and trusts the rain to come. We have planted our seed of intention in the field of life and learned to trust the unseen process of its growth. But where precisely is this field? Where is the soil of our faith actually tended? It is not in the future, where the harvest may one day be reaped. It is not in the past, where the memory of the planting resides. The only place where trust can be cultivated, where our power can be exercised, and where the intelligence of the universe can be met, is in the singular, eternal, and all-powerful moment of now. To become a master gardener of our destiny, we must first become a master of the present moment. We must learn to forge the vessel of our own presence, for it is the only container strong enough to hold the life we wish to live. The controlling ego, the frantic gardener, is a relentless time traveler. Its entire strategy for maintaining power depends on pulling your consciousness out of the present moment. It cannot operate in the now, because in the pure, simple reality of the now, there is very little to control. So, it drags you ceaselessly into one of two phantom realms, the haunted past or the imagined future. The past is a ghost town to which the ego holds a season pass. It forces you to walk its dusty streets again and again, reliving old arguments, re-feeling the sting of old wounds, relitigating decisions that can never be unmade. This is the realm of regret, guilt, shame, and resentment. When your awareness is tethered to the past, you are utterly powerless. You are pouring your precious present moment life force into reanimating ghosts, trying to change a story that has already been written. It is an act of profound self-depletion. If you are not in the past, the ego drags you into the imagined future. This is a phantom city that you are constantly trying to design and build in your mind. This is the realm of anxiety, worry, and endless, exhausting scenario planning. You project your fears onto the blank screen of tomorrow, and then react to these mental projections as if they are happening right now. You live through 1,000 potential failures, 1,000 potential catastrophes that will never actually occur. When your awareness is lost in the future, you are just as powerless as when you are lost in the past. You are trying to control a variable that does not yet exist. This time traveling is the ego's master strategy. It keeps you perpetually distracted, disempowered, and disconnected from the only point where your true power actually resides. We must now discover the profound magic of the portal called now. The present moment is not just one tick of the clock among many. It is the only moment that has ever, or will ever, truly exist. Your entire life unfolds as a continuous series of now moments. The past was once a now. The future will arrive as a now. Therefore, all of your power exists here. The now is the portal, the single point of access to everything you truly desire. Peace, creativity, love, intuition, and your connection to the universe. Peace cannot be found in the future. You can only be peaceful now. Love cannot be given or received tomorrow. You can only love now. All power is present moment power. Let us use the metaphor of a potter at their wheel. The potter is trying to shape a beautiful vessel from a lump of wet clay. Can they shape this vessel by thinking about the pot they made yesterday? Can they form its elegant neck by worrying about the vase they hope to make tomorrow? It is impossible. Their hands, their eyes, their breath, their entire being must be focused on the feeling of the clay as it spins between their hands in this precise, singular moment. It is only in this state of total, focused presence that the formless clay can be guided into a work of art. Your life is that lump of clay. It can only be shaped in the focused, loving presence of the now. When you are fully present, a miracle occurs. The frantic chatter of the ego subsides. You cannot be fully present and anxious at the same time, because anxiety is, by definition, future-oriented. You cannot be fully present and regretful at the same time, because regret is, by definition, past-oriented. Presence is the natural antidote to all the suffering created by the time-traveling mind. Of course, this is a discipline. It is not easy. The mind's habit of wandering is like the law of gravitia, powerful, constant, and deeply ingrained force. The neural pathways that lead to the past and the future have been paved and widened over a lifetime. To remain in the now is to consciously choose to walk a new, less traveled path. The inner conflict is not a violent battle to be won once and for all. It is a constant, gentle practice of returning. Imagine your mind is a balloon on a long string, and you are holding the end of the string. The nature of the balloon is to drift. It will be carried away by the winds of thought, into the past, into the future. The practice of presence is not to get angry at the balloon or try to pop it. It is to simply become aware that you have let go of the string. And then, with gentle, patient firmness, you reach out and pull the string back, anchoring the balloon once again in the hand of the present moment. The goal is not to have a mind that never wanders. That is impossible. The goal is to become so masterful at noticing when it has wandered that the act of returning becomes quick, graceful, and second nature. This leads us to a core message that can transform your entire relationship with life. Don't try to control the ocean. Simply learn to ride the wave you are on. Your life, with all its complexities, is an immense and unpredictable ocean. The ego believes its job is to control the entire oceanto, command the tides, to predict the weather, to calm the storms. This is an exhausting, impossible task that leads only to a feeling of constant struggle and failure. The path of trust and presence offers a different way. It invites you to completely let go of the need to control the ocean. Instead, you are asked to bring your entire attention, your full presence, and all of your skill to a single, manageable task, riding the wave of this present moment. Give this one moment, this one conversation, this one task, this one breath your undivided awareness. Ride it with grace, with love, with power. When you do this, you discover the ultimate secret. By taking perfect care of the present moment, the future automatically takes care of itself. A magnificent future is not built by worrying about it. A magnificent future is the inevitable result of a series of magnificently lived present moments. By pouring your full power into the now, you are planting the most potent seeds for a future that you will no longer feel the need to control. To make this tangible, you need a tool. You need a simple, powerful emergency brake for the time-traveling mind. We can call it the 3-2-1 anchor. You can use this anywhere, at any time, and no one will even know you are doing it. The moment you catch yourself lost in anxiety about the future or looping in regret about the past, you must act. First, state a gentle but firm command to your own mind. Silently say the word here or now. This is the signal to stop. Then, immediately and deliberately, engage your senses to yank your consciousness out of the abstract world of thought and into the undeniable reality of your physical environment. First, look around the room and silently name to yourself 3 different things that you can see. Be specific. I see the red cover of the book. I see the dust floating in the sunbeam. I see the crack in the ceiling. Next, quiet your inner dialogue and listen. Silently name 2 distinct things you can hear. I hear the low hum of the refrigerator. I hear a bird singing outside my window. Finally, bring your awareness into your body. Silently name 1 thing you can physically feel. I feel the warmth of the mug in my hands. This simple 3-2-1 sequence is a lifeline. It is a neurological reset button. It short-circuits the anxious, time-traveling mind and pulls you back into the safety and power of your own body in this one and only moment of now. Use it 50 times a day if you need to. It is the hammer and the fire with which you will forge the beautiful, unbreakable vessel of your own presence. As we forge the sacred vessel of our presence, as we learn to inhabit the eternal moment of now with greater consistency and peace, something extraordinary begins to occur. We develop a new kind of sight. We begin to perceive a subtle, powerful, and undeniable connection between the world within and the world without. We start to understand the most profound and liberating truth of the human experience. The world is not a random collection of events happening to you. It is a perfect, living mirror, flawlessly reflecting your own consciousness back to you in every single moment. To grasp this is to graduate from being a victim of circumstance into being a conscious creator of your reality. It is the beginning of true freedom. Let us explore the mechanics of this great mirror. It operates through 2 primary principles: perception and resonance. First, understand that your inner state, the sum total of your beliefs, fears, hopes, and assumptions, acts as a powerful filter on reality. You do not see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. If you hold a deep-seated belief that the world is a hostile and competitive place, your mind will unconsciously scan your environment for evidence to support this belief. You will interpret a neutral comment as a criticism. You will see a colleague's success as a threat to your own. You will experience everyday challenges as proof that the universe is against you. Conversely, if you cultivate a belief that the world is a supportive and abundant place, you will find evidence for that everywhere. You will see challenges as opportunities, feedback as a gift, and the success of others as an inspiration. The world itself does not change. The lens through which you view it changes, and this changes everything. The second principle is that of energetic resonance. This is the ancient wisdom that modern physics is beginning to affirm. Everything is energy, and all energy vibrates at a particular frequency. Your emotional state is not just a psychological experience, it is a tangible, vibrational frequency that you are broadcasting out into the universe, like a radio tower. A state of anxiety, frustration, and the need to control broadcasts a jagged, chaotic, dissonant frequency, and like attracts like. This frequency will naturally draw toward it and create from the field of infinite possibility people and situations that resonate with that same chaotic energy. If you broadcast anxiety, you will find more things to be anxious about. If you broadcast resistance, you will meet resistance everywhere you turn. On the other hand, a state of peace, trust, and allowing broadcasts a clear, harmonious, and coherent frequency. This signal naturally attracts experiences that match its nature, synchronicities, ease, supportive encounters, and a sense of graceful flow. You are not just a passive observer of the universe. You are an active participant in a constant vibrational conversation. Your feeling is your prayer, and the universe always answers the prayer you are truly praying, not with your words, but with your being. To fully embrace this understanding requires confronting one of the ego's most cherished positions, the stance of the victim. This is our default setting. When something undesirable happens, our immediate, conditioned instinct is to look outside ourselves for the cause. We blame the economy, we blame our partner, we blame our parents, we blame the government, we blame bad luck. This victim stance feels strangely comforting. It feels righteous. It absolves us of the heavy burden of responsibility. But in exchange for this comfort, we pay a terrible price. We give away all of our power. A victim, by definition, is one to whom things happen. A victim is powerless to change their circumstances because the cause is always out there. Now, consider the alternative, the stance of the creator. This is the stance of radical, 100% responsibility. The creator looks at their life, at every circumstance and every relationship, both the beautiful and the painful, and declares, "This is mine. This experience originates in me. This is a reflection of my consciousness." At first, this feels terrifying. The ego screams in protest, "What? Are you saying this illness is my fault? Are you saying this betrayal is my fault?" And here we must make a critical distinction. Responsibility is not blame. It is not fault. It is not about self-punishment or shame. The word responsibility can be broken down. Response, ability. It is simply the ability to respond. By taking full ownership of your experience, you reclaim your ability to respond to it in a new way. If the source of your experience lies within your own consciousness, then the power to change that experience must also lie within your consciousness. This is the ultimate inner conflict. You can have the comfort of blaming others, or you can have the power to create your own reality. You cannot have both. This leads us to the liberating core message, the secret to working with the great mirror of life. You do not change your life by trying to change the reflection. Imagine you are standing in front of a bathroom mirror. You see that your reflection is frowning. What do? Do you reach out and try to physically push the lips of your reflection into a smile? Do you get angry at the mirror, shouting at it to show you a happier face? Do you take out a cloth and start polishing the glass, hoping the frown will wipe away? The absurdity is obvious to us in this context. And yet, this is precisely how we live our lives. We try to manipulate the reflection. We try to force our partner to change so we can feel loved. We try to control our children so we can feel at peace. We try to rearrange the world so that it will finally show us a picture that makes us happy. The path of wisdom is to stop this insane and exhausting effort completely. It is to turn your gaze away from the mirror and back to the only place you have any real power, your own face. You must be the one to smile first. You must be the one to cultivate the feeling of peace, love, or abundance within yourself, regardless of what the mirror is currently showing you. And when you change your own inner state, the mirror has no choice. The reflection must change. It is a law of the universe. Let us now anchor this in a practice. This is a simple, powerful question that can instantly pivot you from the powerless mindset of the victim to the empowered mindset of the creator. The next time you find yourself in a situation that triggers a negative emotional response, frustration with a slow driver, anger at a critical colleague, fear about a bill you have to pay, perform this inner alchemy. First, notice the immediate, conditioned impulse to blame, to look outward. Notice the thought, that person is making me angry, or this situation is making me afraid. Now, pause, take a breath, and consciously ask yourself a new, more profound question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this situation reflecting in me? Let that question sink deep. Explore it with genuine, non-judgmental curiosity. What belief that I hold is making this traffic jam feel like a personal injustice? Perhaps it is reflecting a deep-seated belief that you are not in control of your time, or that the world is an obstacle course. What part of me is being triggered by this person's arrogance? Perhaps it is reflecting a part of yourself that you have judged and suppressed your own ambition or your own desire for recognition. This is the psychological principle of projection. We often despise in others what we cannot accept in ourselves. What fear within me is this financial challenge mirroring? Perhaps it is a core belief in scarcity, a fear that there will never be enough. This question is not about blaming yourself. It is a powerful diagnostic tool. The external world becomes your personal spiritual teacher, your biofeedback machine. It relentlessly and perfectly points you to the exact areas within your own consciousness that are out of alignment, that are vibrating with fear, and that are in need of your loving, healing attention. Every irritation becomes an invitation. Every challenge becomes a mirror showing you precisely where your work lies and where your greatest power is waiting to be reclaimed. We have learned to stand before the great mirror of reality and ask the courageous question, what is this reflecting in me? As we gaze honestly into this mirror, looking past the surface of our daily frustrations, we often find that the difficult situations in our lives are reflecting the deep, shadowy contours of our oldest wounds. The difficult boss mirrors the critical parent. The fear of scarcity mirrors a childhood of instability. The painful relationship mirrors a core belief that we are unlovable. Our first, most human instinct is to recoil from this reflection. We want to turn away, to blame the mirror, or even to shatter it. But the path of profound transformation, the path of the alchemist, invites us to do the opposite. It invites us to lean closer, to look deeper, and to learn the sacred art of turning the lead of our past into the gold of our present. It is the alchemy of pain. Let us first examine the lead that we carry. Unhealed pain, unprocessed trauma, is not just a memory. It is a dense, heavy, and living energy that we carry in our bodies and in our energy fields. It is the lead in our pockets that weighs us down, day after day. This lead manifests in our lives in countless ways. It is the chronic, low-grade anxiety that hums beneath the surface of our quietest moments. It is the sudden, inexplicable wave of sadness that ambushes us on a sunny afternoon. It is the self-sabotaging pattern that appears every time we get close to success or true intimacy. It is the persistent, nagging feeling that we are somehow fundamentally broken, flawed, or unworthy of happiness. These are not signs of a defective personality. They are the symptoms of a body and a soul still carrying the undigested weight of the past. We avoid this pain for a very good reason. It is a brilliant survival strategy. When the original wound occurred, whether it was a moment of acute trauma or a long period of neglect or criticism, it was too overwhelming for our young nervous system to process. So the psyche, in its infinite wisdom, performed a kind of emergency quarantine. It encapsulated the toxic, overwhelming experience, burying it deep in the unconscious, allowing us to go on, to function, to survive. But what was once a life-saving adaptation in childhood becomes a prison in adulthood. The buried lead doesn't simply lie dormant. It leaches its poison into the soil of our present life. And most importantly, this buried pain becomes the secret architect of our need for control. We unconsciously construct our entire lives around avoiding the hidden landmines of our past trauma. We control our environment, we control our relationships, we control our own behavior, all in a desperate, exhausting attempt not to step on a spot that will trigger the sleeping dragon of our buried pain. The alchemical process is the journey of willingly and consciously walking back onto that minefield, not to be blown apart, but to diffuse the bombs one by one. The great secret of alchemy is that the fire that transforms the lead into gold is the fire of conscious, loving attention. This is not a mental exercise. You cannot think your way out of trauma. It is an emotional and embodied process. The first step is to stop running. It is the courageous decision to turn around, take a deep breath, and face the pain you have spent your life trying to outrun. The second step is to allow yourself to feel the old emotions, but, and this is critical, to feel them within the safe and stable container of your present-day adult consciousness. You are not a helpless child anymore. You are now the strong, compassionate adult who can be present with the wounded child within. You are providing the safe space that was missing the first time. In this space, the child part of you can finally express its stored grief, its frozen terror, its unexpressed rage. As you allow these old energies to move through you without judgment, a third stage begins: understanding. The old story, which was written from the limited, terrified perspective of a child, begins to shift. You see the events with new eyes. You see the wounds that the people who hurt you were carrying. The narrative transforms from a simple story of blame and victimhood into a complex and compassionate tapestry of human learning and evolution. Naturally, this journey precipitates a powerful inner conflict. As you approach the site of your old wounds, a deeply conditioned part of you, the exile, will scream in protest. Its voice is the voice of your survival instinct. It shouts, "Stop, do not go there. It is too dangerous." Forgetting is the only way to live. If you touch that pain, it will consume you. This part of you honestly believes it is protecting you from annihilation. But another part of you, the true self, the inner healer, gently calls you forward. This is the part of you that yearns for wholeness. It knows, with an unshakable certainty, that you can never be truly free as long as essential parts of your own being remain exiled in the frozen tundra of the past. It knows that your power does not lie in building stronger walls around your pain, but in liberating the energy that is trapped there. The choice is between the illusion of safety and fragmentation, or the authentic, messy, and ultimately liberating journey toward integration. This leads us to the core message, the philosopher's stone of this inner work. Your pain is not a curse. It is an invitation. Your deepest wound is not a mistake in your design. It is the very site of your greatest offering to the world. Consider the oyster. A grain of sand, a foreign body, enters its sensitive flesh. It is an irritant, a wound, a source of constant discomfort. The oyster could die from this, but instead, it begins a miraculous alchemical process. It secretes a precious, luminous substance from the very core of its being, and it begins to coat the source of its pain, layer after patient layer. Over time, it transforms the agent of its suffering into a beautiful, valuable, and iridescent pearl. The treasure would not exist without the wound. We are the same. Our traumas, our heartbreaks, our failures, these are the grains of sand. And our work is to coat them with the nacre of our own consciousness, with love, with forgiveness, with compassion, with understanding. In doing so, we create the pearls of our character. From the wound of betrayal, we create the pearl of true discernment and self-reliance. From the wound of abandonment, we create the pearl of unshakable interconnection and the capacity to be truly present with others. From the wound of failure, We create the pearl of humility, resilience, and compassion for all who struggle. Do not waste your pain. It is the raw material of your radiance. Your wound is not where you are broken. It is where the light enters you, and it is from this very place that your most potent gift to the world will emerge. How do we begin this sacred and tender work? We start with a simple act of inner reunion. We practice the art of compassionate self-parenting. Find a quiet time and space where you will not be disturbed. Take a pen and paper. The physical act of writing is important. Take a few deep breaths and allow your awareness to travel back in time. Bring to your mind's eye the image of yourself at the age the wound occurred. See that little boy or little girl. See their posture, their expression, the look in their eyes. Now, begin to write a letter to this younger self. Start by introducing yourself. Dear one, you might write, I am your future self. I am the one who made it through. I am writing to you now from a place of safety and love. The next step is to offer pure validation. Acknowledge their pain specifically. I know how scared you were when that happened. I know how alone you felt and how much it hurt. It was not your fault. You did nothing wrong. You were just a child. Offer this child the comfort and protection that they did not receive back then. I am here with you now. I am holding you. I will never leave you. I will keep you safe. Finally, and most importantly, thank them. Thank this child for their incredible courage. Thank them for their resilience. Thank them for doing whatever they had to do to survive, because their survival is the reason you, the adult, are here today. Read the letter aloud. Let the tears come if they need to. This is not just an exercise. This is an act of profound soul retrieval. It is the beginning of bringing your exiled parts home. It is the first gentle application of the alchemical fire of your own love. Through the alchemical fire of our loving attention, we have begun to transmute the dense lead of our past pain into the radiant gold of self-awareness and compassion. This profound inner transformation inevitably creates a shift in our posture toward life itself. We begin to notice that the hand we have held clenched in a tight fist of control for so long has started, almost of its own accord, to soften. The white knuckles have begun to regain their color. The tension in the forearm has started to ease. Now, we must learn the conscious art of opening that hand completely, palm to the sky. For in doing so, we embrace the forgotten, graceful, and deeply powerful art of receiving. For most of our lives, we have operated from the paradigm of grasping. This is the mindset of the clenched fist, the default mode of the controlling ego. It functions on the core belief that you must make things happen in the world. Life, from this perspective, is a series of objectives to be conquered. It is a world of striving, hustling, chasing, and taking. The underlying assumption is one of scarcity and separation. I am here, and what I want or need is over there, and I must bridge that gap through sheer effort, will, and force. This can be seen as an imbalanced masculine energy not in terms of gender, but as an archetypal principle. It is the energy of action, assertion, and building, but without the crucial balance of its feminine counterpart. Untempered by reception, this masculine energy becomes aggressive, restless, and perpetually dissatisfied. It is the energy of burnout, and this paradigm does get results, which is precisely why it is so seductive and so hard to release. You can achieve a great deal through force of will. You can build a career, accumulate wealth, and tick every box on the checklist of success. But what is the cost? The results are often accompanied by a deep, hollow exhaustion. There is a sense of emptiness, a feeling that you are constantly at war with life, wrestling it into submission. The clenched fist may indeed hold the prize it has grabbed, but it is a tired fist, a tense fist, a fist that is completely closed off to the possibility of any other gift being offered. It can hold what it has taken, but it can receive nothing more. Now, let us consider a new paradigm, the paradigm of receiving. This is the mindset of the open hand. It operates from a completely different core belief. You do not have to make things happen, you allow them to happen. You attract what you are in vibrational resonance with. Life, from this perspective, is not a battle to be won, but a dance to be joined. It is a world of allowing, aligning, attracting, and unfolding. The underlying assumption is one of unity and abundance. Everything is connected. I am part of a responsive, intelligent universe. When I align my inner state with what I wish to experience, the universe conspires to bring it to me. This is the energy of the receptive feminine principle. It is the energy of the fertile earth, which does not chase the seed, but provides the rich, nurturing space for it to grow. It is the energy of the open chalice, waiting to be filled. It is not weak. It is not passive. It is powerfully, magnetically receptive. True mastery is the harmonious dance of both principles. You take the soul, guided action with your focused, masculine energy, and then you shift into the receptive, trusting feminine energy to allow the result to come to you in its own perfect way. When you operate from this balanced state, results still come, but they arrive with a feeling of grace, of synchronicity, of delightful surprise. There is a sense of being helped by unseen forces. Life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a beautiful co-creation. The open hand is relaxed, at peace, and ready to receive not only what it has asked for, but also the unexpected gifts the universe has in store. The primary obstacle to making this shift is a deep-seated and culturally conditioned feeling of guilt. Our society glorifies the struggle. We are taught from a young age that our worth is directly proportional to our effort, to our hustle. The idea that good things could come to us easily, without a painful and arduous fight, feels deeply suspicious. It feels like cheating. When we first begin to practice the art of allowing, the old programming screams at us. You are being lazy. You should be doing more. You are not trying hard enough. Nothing good comes easy. We can feel profoundly guilty for being at peace. We can feel anxious when synchronicities start to happen, because we carry a core belief that life is meant to be a struggle. We must consciously confront this programming. We must be willing to entertain a new belief that we are worthy of receiving goodness, joy, and abundance simply because we exist, not because we have suffered for it. We must release the addiction to the struggle to make room for the experience of grace. This leads us to the clear and simple core message. The clenched fist is not a symbol of strength. It is a symbol of profound fear. It clenches because it is terrified of losing the little that it has. It clenches because it believes it is separate from the source of life and must fight for every scrap. The open hand is the symbol of true power. It is open because it is not afraid. It is open because it trusts that it is eternally connected to an infinite source of all that it could ever need or desire. It is relaxed because it knows it does not have to force, grasp, or take. It understands that its only job is to remain open and receptive. Look at your own hand. A clenched fist cannot receive a single thing. It cannot accept a gift. It cannot receive a helping hand. It cannot feel the caress of a loved one. To receive anything, a new idea, a brilliant insight, a heartfelt compliment, a loving gesture, a financial opportunity, a moment of grace, you must, physically and energetically, have an open hand. You must be in a state of reception. How then do we cultivate this state of being? How do we train ourselves to keep our hand open when the habit of a lifetime is to clench it? The most powerful and direct practice is the discipline of radical gratitude. Gratitude is the energetic signature of the open hand. It is the frequency of reception. To practice radical gratitude is to do more than simply think of a few things you are thankful for. It is to marinate your entire consciousness in the feeling of being blessed. So, every single day, preferably in the morning to set the tone for your day, take a journal and a pen. Do not stop until you have written down a list of 10 specific things for which you are genuinely grateful. Be specific. Do not just write my family. Write the way my partner's eyes crinkle when they laugh. Do not just write my home. Write the feeling of the warm water in the shower this morning. For each item on your list, do not just write it and move on. Pause. Close your eyes, and for at least 10 seconds, fully and completely feel the emotion of gratitude in your body. Let the warmth, the joy, the peace of it saturate every cell. Feel it as a physical sensation. This is not a mental exercise. It is a vibrational recalibration. You cannot feel genuinely grateful and feel a sense of lack at the same time. The two emotions cannot coexist. By consciously, deliberately, and repeatedly steeping your being in the feeling of gratitude, you are actively rewiring your nervous system and retraining your energetic frequency. You are shifting your fundamental life stance from "I need to" get to "I am so blessed by all that I already have." This feeling of fullness, of abundance, is the most powerfully magnetic force in the universe. It is a declaration to life that you are open, that you are ready, that you are worthy of receiving more. It is the ultimate open hand. As we practice the discipline of radical gratitude, as our hands and our hearts learn to remain in a state of open reception, something truly magical begins to happen. Our senses change. We become attuned to a new layer of reality, one that was always present but previously invisible to our stressed and striving minds. We begin to notice the small, strange, and beautiful winks from the universe. We start to see the patterns, the meaningful coincidences, the signs and symbols that appear on our path at the perfect moment. It is as if life, seeing our newfound willingness to listen, has begun to speak to us directly. We must now learn its subtle and deeply personal language. We must learn to read the signs. This phenomenon has a name: synchronicity. It is a term first brought into the light by the great psychologist Carl Jung, who defined it as a meaningful coincidence. It is the experience of two or more events that are not connected by a direct line of cause and effect, yet their timing and nature are so perfect that they feel profoundly, personally significant to the person who experiences them. You know this language already, even if you have not named it. It is the experience of agonizing over a problem, and then the answer appears in a line from a book you randomly open. It is thinking of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and moments later, your phone rings with their name on the screen. It is seeing the same sequence of numbers, 11, 11, 444, 777, everywhere you look, at the very time you are going through a major life transition. It is hearing a song on the radio whose lyrics speak directly to the secret question in your heart. These are not random statistical anomalies to be dismissed. They are the whispers of the universe made visible. They are nodes of meaning in the great web of life. Moments when the veil between your inner world of thought and the outer world of form becomes transparent, and you see the underlying unity and intelligence of it all. These signs are confirmations. They are road markers on your journey, letting you know that you are on the right path, that you have been heard. When you are in a state of flow, aligned with your soul's purpose, the universe will constantly send you these little affirmations, these winks of encouragement, to let you know that you are moving in harmony with the greater whole. They are love notes from the mystery. The greatest barrier to living in this enchanted reality is the civil war that erupts in our own minds whenever a synchronicity occurs. It is the war between the rationalist and the mystic. The rationalist is the voice of our modern, scientific, skeptical conditioning. The moment a meaningful coincidence happens, the rationalist voice screams, "Coincidence! That's all it is." You're engaging in confirmation bias. You're looking for patterns where none exist. Don't be a fool. Don't be superstitious. There is a perfectly logical explanation for this. This voice is terrified of being seen as irrational, of losing its intellectual credibility. It demands hard, empirical, repeatable data, and synchronicity, by its very nature, is intimate, subjective, and personal. The rationalist needs proof before it will believe. On the other side is the mystic. The mystic is the voice of your intuition, your soul, your heart. The mystic is not concerned with statistical probability. When a synchronicity occurs, the mystic feels its significance. It experiences a jolt of wonder, a shiver down the spine, a deep and instantaneous sense of knowing that this event is meaningful. The mystic does not need to prove the experience, because it has had the experience. The inner conflict is this: we feel the jolt of the mystic, that moment of pure magic and connection. And then, a split second later, the rationalist swoops in like a prosecuting attorney to debunk the experience, cross-examine our feelings, and make us feel silly and naive for our moment of wonder. To learn the language of the universe, you must make a conscious choice. You must choose to honor the direct, felt experience of the mystic over the conditioned, second-hand skepticism of the rationalist. You must decide to trust your own inner knowing more than you fear the judgment of a world that has forgotten how to see magic. This leads us to the core message. The universe is constantly speaking to you. The question is never, is life communicating? The only question is, am I paying attention? The world is not a dead machine made of inert matter, governed by cold, random chance. It is a living, breathing, conscious, and intelligent field of energy that is in a constant, dynamic dialogue with you. To perceive this dialogue, you must be willing to shift your entire mode of perception. You must choose to see the world not with the eyes of a cynical accountant who demands to audit every transaction and file every event under random or explained. You must learn to see with the eyes of a poet who looks for the metaphor, the symbol, the deeper rhythm, the hidden beauty in all things. Choosing to see the world this way is not an act of delusion. It is an act of profound attention. It is choosing to tune your radio dial to a frequency that is always broadcasting, but which is usually drowned out by the static of our own disbelief. To train this new way of seeing, to become fluent in this subtle language, we will adopt a simple and delightful practice: the keeping of a synchronicity journal. I want you to find a special notebook, one that feels good to you, and dedicate it to this purpose. Call it your book of signs, your synchronicity log, or whatever name inspires you. And from this day forward, every time you experience one of these meaningful coincidences, no matter how small or strange it may seem, I want you to record it. Create 3 simple sections for each entry. First, record the event itself, as objectively as possible. I was feeling lost and questioning my path. I went for a walk and found a single, perfect, white feather on the sidewalk in front of me. Second, record the context. Just before this happened, I had silently asked the question, am I on the right path? Please, give me a sign. Third, and most importantly, record the feeling. When I saw the feather, I felt an immediate wave of peace and a sense of being watched over and loved. It felt like a direct answer. Do not judge what you write down. Do not censor yourself. Record the repeating numbers, the songs on the radio, the overheard conversations, the strange encounters, the meaningful dreams. At first, your entries may seem like a random collection of disconnected, quirky events, but I promise you, after a few weeks, after a few months, a miracle will occur. You will sit down and read back through your journal, and you will be struck with awe. You will see the undeniable patterns. You will see the clear themes. You will discover the unique, personal vocabulary that the universe uses to speak directly to you. You will have, in your own handwriting, irrefutable proof that you are not alone, that you are being guided, and that you are in a constant and loving conversation with life itself. This journal will become your personal Rosetta Stone, the key to deciphering the beautiful, subtle, and magical language of your own unfolding destiny. We are learning to see the winks and nods from the universe, to read the synchronicities that appear on our path like trail markers. We see, now, that we are in a dialogue with a living, responsive intelligence. But as we engage in this dialogue, we quickly make a humbling discovery. Our conversation partner, the universe itself, operates on a very different schedule than we do. Our ego, conditioned by a world of instant downloads and next-day delivery, wants everything yesterday. The universe, however, operates according to a rhythm that is vast, wise, cyclical, and utterly unhurried. To continue this dance without stumbling in frustration, we must now learn the hardest and most graceful step of all. We must learn the rhythm of patience. We must learn to trust in divine timing. Let us first diagnose the modern epidemic, the sickness of haste. Impatience is not a minor personality quirk. It is a profound spiritual ailment. It is a direct and painful symptom of distrust. Haste is born from the ego's terrifying core belief that if things do not happen now, on its preferred schedule, they will never happen at all. It is the fear that we have been forgotten. It is the panic that we will miss our one and only chance. It is the deep, gnawing anxiety that the process is not working. The energy of impatience is frantic and corrosive. It is the energy of the gardener who digs up the seed every morning to see if it has sprouted. This anxious, grasping energy actively repels the very outcomes we desire. It sends a powerful signal of lack and disbelief out into the great mirror of reality, which, by law, must be reflected back to us as more delays, more obstacles, and more reasons to feel impatient. The need to control the when is one of the last and most stubborn strongholds of the ego. To release your grip on the timeline is to surrender at the deepest level. We must therefore redefine patience, rescuing it from its association with passivity. True spiritual patience is not lazy, apathetic waiting. It is not sitting on your hands and giving up. That is hopelessness, which is just another form of fear. Active patience is a dynamic, engaged, and incredibly powerful state of being. It is the supreme wisdom of the wise farmer, and it has two essential components. The first is that you continue to do your part. You tend the soil of the present moment with diligence. You show up. You take the next small, soul-guided action. You practice your gratitude. You maintain your high vibration. You do the work that is yours to do, right here, right now, without attachment to its immediate result. The second component is the great release. While you are actively engaged in the present, you simultaneously release, with 100% totality, your control over the timeline. You let go of the when. You let go of the how. You turn the outcome and its arrival date over to a wisdom far greater than your own. This is the central paradox and the ultimate power of this practice. You are, at the same time, completely engaged and completely surrendered. You hold the vision of your desire with clarity and focus, but you hold the manifestation of it with a light and open hand. This combination is a potent signal of co-creation. It says to the universe, I am a committed and active partner in this creation. I am doing my work with faith and diligence, and I trust your infinite wisdom and your perfect timing so completely that I have no need to worry or control the outcome. This state of active patience is one of the most magnetic and creative states a human being can inhabit. This practice brings to light an inner conflict that rages within us all, the battle between the anxious child and the knowing adult. The impatient part of us is like a small, restless child in the back seat of a car on a long journey. Every 5 minutes it whines, "Are we there yet? How much longer? Why is it taking so long?" This child is incapable of enjoying the journey. Its entire being is fixated on the destination, and every moment that is not the destination is a source of frustration. Its experience of time is one of agitated, anxious waiting. But there is another part of us. It is the calm, knowing adult in the driver's seat. This is the presence of your soul, your higher self. This part knows the destination is assured. It has the map. It understands the terrain. It knows that attempting to get there faster would be dangerous and would ruin the journey. It finds joy in the scenery passing by the window, in the music playing on the radio. The inner work of patience is to become the calm, loving adult who can turn around and gently soothe the anxious child in the back seat. It is to say to that frantic part of yourself, I know you are anxious. I know you feel like it's taking forever. But I promise you, we are on the right road. We will get there at the most perfect time. It's okay. Let's look out the window together and enjoy this beautiful part of the ride. The core message to help us do this is to trust the season you are in. Your life, your projects, your healing, they do not unfold in a straight, predictable, linear fashion. They unfold in seasons, just like the great cycles of the earth. There is a season of winter. This is a time of seeming barrenness, of stillness, of quiet. Nothing appears to be happening on the surface. This is not the end. This is a sacred and necessary fallow period. It is a time for your roots to grow deeper, for your energy to be conserved, for you to rest and integrate. To fight the winter, to try and force growth in a fallow season, is to court exhaustion and despair. Patience is the wisdom to trust the winter. Then there is the season of spring. This is the time of new beginnings, of unexpected breakthroughs. The first tender sprouts begin to push through the soil. You receive the phone call. The idea crystallizes. You meet the right person. This is the first evidence that your inner work and patient trust are bearing fruit. After the spring comes the summer, a season of rapid growth, of vibrant expression, of long days filled with light and activity. And after the summer comes the autumn, a time of harvest, of reaping the rewards, but also a time of letting go, of shedding what is no longer needed to prepare for the coming winter. Impatience is the demand for a perpetual summer. It is the spiritual foolishness of cursing the winter. Patience is the deep, embodied wisdom that understands that each season has its own purpose, its own beauty, and its own gifts. It is the unshakable trust that if you honor the season you are in, the spring will always, always come. What is truly meant for you cannot miss you, and it will arrive on the wings of divine and not a moment sooner. To anchor this wisdom in your body, to teach your very nervous system the rhythm of patience, turn to the greatest teacher of all, nature. Make it a daily practice to consciously observe some aspect of the natural world. It can be a great oak tree in a park, a small patch of moss on a stone, or a single houseplant on your windowsill. As you look at this life form, contemplate its relationship with time. Notice that the tree is not worried about when its leaves will appear. A flower bud is not stressed about when it is supposed to bloom. They simply are. They exist in a state of profound trust, patiently drawing on the resources of the earth and sky, and unfolding according to an innate, flawless, and unhurried intelligence. Now, try to breathe with this natural rhythm. As you breathe in, feel yourself patiently drawing in energy and nourishment. As you breathe out, feel the calm, slow release. Your body is a part of nature. Your cells, your DNA, your nervous system, they are all designed to operate on this same graceful, cyclical rhythm. By consciously connecting with the deep patience of the earth, you are reminding your own system of its native wisdom. You are calming the anxious child. You are aligning yourself with the unhurried, unstoppable, and always perfect timing of life itself. We have learned to trust the rhythm of the seasons, to be patient in the quiet winter of our lives, knowing that spring will inevitably come. But this patience is not a rigid, frozen waiting, like a statue enduring a storm. It is a dynamic, supple, and alive state of being. To embody this active patience, to stand firm in the storms of life without being shattered by them, we must fundamentally redefine our concept of strength. We have been taught to admire the strength of the oak tree, but the universe now invites us to discover the invincible power of the reed. Our culture worships the myth of rigidity. We are taught to admire the unyielding leader, the immovable rock, the person of such firm principle that they never bend. Strength, in this model, is the capacity to resist pressure. To change your mind is seen as weakness. To adapt is seen as a lack of conviction. To yield is to lose. The ego loves this model of strength. It provides a clear, simple, and impressive identity. I am the one who never backs down. I am the one who cannot be swayed. This creates a powerful, if brittle, sense of self. The ego mistakes this inflexibility for power because it provides a false sense of certainty in a world of constant change. But let us look closer at the fate of the mighty oak tree. It stands for 100 years, majestic, proud, a symbol of endurance. It has weathered countless storms through its sheer, stubborn resistance. But one day, a storm of unprecedented force arrives. The winds howl with a power the oak has never known. The great tree resists with all of its magnificent strength. Its roots cling to the earth, its trunk stands like a stone pillar, and for a time, it holds. But the force of the wind is relentless, and eventually, a terrible cracking sound echoes through the forest. A great limb, or the entire trunk itself, shatters under the unbearable pressure. The very source of the oak's perceived strength, its proud, unyielding rigidity, becomes the direct and tragic cause of its own destruction. Now, let us turn our gaze to the humble reed growing by the riverbank. It is slender, unassuming, almost fragile in appearance. It has no pride, no grand identity to uphold. When the same furious storm descends, the reed does something that the ego would consider madness. It does not fight, it does not resist. It surrenders, it bows, it yields so completely to the force of the wind that its tip almost touches the water. The storm does not blow against the reed, it blows over it. The reed's strength is not in its capacity to stand firm, but in its perfect, instantaneous ability to adapt to the pressure being applied to it. It has no rigid self to protect. Its only intention is to remain rooted and alive. It embodies the supreme intelligence of yielding. And what happens when the storm finally passes? The great oak lies broken, a casualty of its own resistance. But the humble reed, which bowed so low, slowly, gracefully, rises again. It shakes the water from its slender leaves and stands tall once more, vibrant and unharmed. It was not broken because it was willing to bend. It did not lose because its goal was not to win against the storm, but to harmonize with it. This is the definition of resilience. This is true strength. This presents a profound inner conflict. The ego's pride versus the soul's wisdom. The ego wants to be the oak. It looks magnificent. It commands respect. It is a symbol of power that others admire. The thought of bowing like a reed can feel deeply humiliating to the ego. The inner voice of pride screams, "You will look weak. You will be seen as a doormat. People will take advantage of you if you do not stand your ground." For the ego, appearance is everything, and the appearance of yielding is tantamount to defeat. The soul, however, is not concerned with appearances. It is concerned with the preservation of life force, with truth, and with graceful evolution. The soul knows that yielding is not weakness, it is the highest form of intelligence. It understands that some forces in life, the grief of a great loss, a major economic downturn, the progression of an illness, are simply too vast to be met with rigid resistance. The soul knows that the most powerful move is often to step aside, to allow a great force to pass through you, to adapt to the new shape of the landscape after the storm has passed. The choice is between the ego's desperate need to look strong and the soul's quiet wisdom to be unbreakable. The core message, then, is simple and profound. Bend so that you do not break. True invincibility is not the ability to withstand every blow without flinching. That is a fantasy. True invincibility is the capacity to recover from anything. It is resilience. The strongest buildings designed by engineers in earthquake zones are not the most rigid. They are the ones designed with a specific degree of flexibility, allowing them to sway with the tremor of the earth. The most advanced aircraft wings are not completely stiff. They are designed to flex under aerodynamic pressure. Rigidity is the quality of death. A dead branch is stiff and snaps easily. A living branch is supple and bends. To be flexible is to be alive. To be rigid is to be in a state of resistance to life. Apply this wisdom to your own existence. In a relationship, it is the flexibility to adapt to your partner's growth and changing needs. In your career, it is the flexibility to pivot and learn new skills when your industry is disrupted. In your spiritual life, it is the flexibility to let go of a belief that once served you but has now become a cage. Be willing to bend, choose life. How do we practice this supple strength? We practice it by adopting a mindset of attached intention with detached outcome. This is a powerful mental model for navigating life with both direction and flexibility. First, the attached intention. This is your North Star. You are clear, focused, and deeply attached to your core intention, your why. For example, my unwavering intention is to live a life of creative expression and financial freedom. Or, my deepest intention is to experience a partnership built on profound love, respect, and intimacy. This intention is the root of the reed, holding firm and deep in the soil of your soul. You do not compromise on this core intention. Second, the detached outcome. While you are firmly attached to the intention, you must practice complete and utter detachment from the specific form or path that intention will take to manifest. This is the supple stem of the reed. You may think your intention for creative fulfillment will be realized through becoming a famous painter, but you must remain flexible enough to allow it to manifest through landscape gardening or mentoring young artists, or a form you cannot yet even imagine. You may believe your intention for a loving partnership will be fulfilled with a specific person, but you must be flexible enough to allow that love to come from someone new if your current relationship proves to be a chapter, not the whole book. The practice is to hold the destination in your heart, but to be completely open about the route you take to get there. It is to say to the universe, I am firmly committed to my intention of sharing my healing gifts with the world. I am completely detached and open as to whether that happens through writing a book, starting a podcast, working one-on-one with clients, or something even more wonderful that you have in store for me. This mindset makes you both powerful and pliable. You have direction, but you cannot be broken, because you have given the winds of life permission to guide you along the most graceful and intelligent path. We have learned the wisdom of the reed, the supple power of bending so that we do not break. We have cultivated a resilience that allows us to meet the changing winds of life with grace. But there is a level beyond mere resilience, a state beyond simply enduring the storm. We are now invited to take the next evolutionary step. We are invited not just to bend with the wind, but to begin to dance with it. To do this, we must change our entire relationship with the great, mysterious, and often terrifying force that directs the wind, the unknown. For the controlling ego, the unknown is the ultimate monster. It is the dark abyss at the edge of the map, marked only with the words, "Here be dragons." The ego is a creature of definition. Its very identity is constructed from known quantities, its past experiences, its present circumstances, and its future plans. The unknown is a blank page, and a blank page is a threat to the ego's existence. It contains no history, no definitions, no guarantees. Faced with the unknown, the ego panics. If I don't know what is coming, it asks, how can I possibly prepare for it? How can I protect myself? Who will I even be if my future is not defined? This terror of the blank page manifests in our lives in countless ways. It is the procrastination that stops us from starting a new project. It is the perfectionism that prevents us from finishing it, for fear its final form will be imperfect and unknown. It is the resistance to change that keeps us clinging to a familiar miseria dead-end job, an unhappy relationship, rather than stepping into the frightening possibility of a better life. It is our constant, anxious need for reassurance, for a guarantee that everything will be okay before we are willing to take a single risk. But there is another part of you, the part we call the soul, that has a completely different relationship with the unknown. The soul is not a product of your personal history. It is a spark of pure, timeless, creative potential. And for the soul, the unknown is not a dark and terrifying abyss. It is a wide-open, sunlit field of infinite possibility. The soul understands a simple, profound truth. Anything new, anything truly miraculous, must, by its very definition, emerge from the unknown. A new love cannot come from the landscape of your past relationships. A brilliant solution to a problem cannot come from your old ways of thinking. A moment of true grace cannot be scheduled in your calendar. The soul sees the unknown as the fertile void, the cosmic womb, the canvas upon which any reality can be painted. And so, the soul's feeling toward the unknown is not fear, it is curiosity, it is wonder. It is a thrill of holy anticipation. It is the pure, unbridled excitement of the adventurer standing at the prow of a ship, gazing out at the misty outline of an undiscovered continent. Here we find one of the most fundamental inner conflicts, the battle between the prisoner and the explorer. The prisoner is the ego. It is terrified of leaving its small, familiar, and predictable prison cell. The cell may be uncomfortable, even painful, but at least the rules are known. The door to this prison cell is not locked, it stands wide open. But the prisoner refuses to step through it, because it cannot see what lies on the other side. The darkness beyond the doorway feels more threatening than the familiar misery within. The prisoner's mantra is, "Better the devil you know." It screams at you, "It's dangerous out there. Stay here where it's safe." The explorer is the soul. It stands at the open doorway, beckoning you forward, its eyes alight with wonder. The explorer is not driven by recklessness, but by a deep and unquenchable yearning for growth, for experience, for life itself. It is not naive about the potential for challenges, but its fundamental stance is one of trust. The explorer's whisper is the counterpoint to the prisoner's scream. It says, "Yes, it is unknown." And isn't that magnificent? Isn't that the whole point of the adventure? Imagine what we might discover. Your life, in every moment, is a choice between these two voices. Will you listen to the prisoner and remain in the cramped but predictable cell of your past? Or will you listen to the explorer and step out into the vast, uncertain, and infinitely potential-filled field of the unknown? To make this choice, it helps to adopt a new core message about the nature of life itself. The ego, the prisoner, treats life like a complex and dangerous math problem that must be solved. It tries to calculate all the variables, predict all the outcomes, and find the one right answer before it dares to make a move. This is an exhausting, joyless, and ultimately futile way to live. The soul, the explorer, knows a deeper truth. Life is not a problem to be solved. It is a piece of music to be danced to. Think about what it means to dance. When you are on the floor, dancing with a partner you trust, do you need to know every single step of the entire song in advance? To dance well, you only need to do two things. First, you must listen attentively to the music as it plays in this present moment. Second, you must trust your partner, feeling their subtle cues, allowing them to guide you, moving in harmony with them. In the great dance of life, the universe is your partner, and it is a masterful, trustworthy, and loving partner. Your only job is to stop trying to lead. Let go of the need to choreograph every step in advance. Instead, do the two things a good dance partner does. Listen, with all your senses, to the music of the present moment, to your intuition, to the synchronicities, to the whispers of your soul, and trust your partner. Trust that the universe knows the steps. Trust that it will guide you, support you, and catch you if you stumble. When you surrender to this dance, you discover a grace, a beauty, and a sense of exhilarating flow that you could never have achieved by trying to solve life like a math problem. How do we begin to practice this dance? We do not start by leaping blindfolded off a cliff. We start by building our comfort with uncertainty muscle, gently and playfully. We do this by scheduling a weekly micro-adventure. This is a small, low-stakes, and enjoyable action that intentionally injects a tiny dose of the unknown into your routine. The possibilities are endless. Once a week, take a different route home from work, just to see what you see. Go to the grocery store and buy a strange-looking fruit or vegetable you have never tried before, without looking up what it tastes like first. Walk into a library or bookstore, close your eyes, and pull a book off a random shelf. Go to a park, sit on a bench, and start a friendly, 5-minute conversation with a stranger. The goal of the micro-adventure is not to have a life-altering epiphany each time. The goal is to accumulate evidence. You are methodically and experientially proving to your nervous system that stepping into the unknown is not fatal. You are teaching yourself, through direct experience, that the unknown is not only safe, but often delightful, interesting, and rewarding. With every micro-adventure, you are weakening the fearful, controlling grip of the prisoner, and you are strengthening the curious, courageous heart of the explorer. You are learning one small, joyful step at a time, how to hear the music, how to trust your partner, and how to dance. As we learn to surrender to the music of the moment, as we begin to trust our dance partner, the universe, we start to perceive the elegant and immutable physics of the dance floor. We notice that every movement we make, every intention we send out, every step we take, elicits a perfect and corresponding response from the cosmos. This flawless law of action and reaction, of cause and effect, has an ancient and often misunderstood name: karma. For many of us, this word lands with a heavy thud. We have been taught to fear this law, to see it as the gavel of a celestial judge, to imagine a great, cosmic ledger where our debts are tallied. To truly dance in freedom and joy, we must now unlearn this fear. We must dismantle the courtroom in our minds and rediscover karma for what it truly is. Not a judge to be feared, but a compassionate teacher to be revered. Let us first examine the old, fear-based model of karma. This is how the controlling ego, with its worldview of crime and punishment, understands the law. In this model, the universe is a celestial courtroom. There is a divine, all-seeing judge, and this judge is keeping a meticulous record of all our deeds. Every action is categorized as either good or bad. Good deeds earn us karmic points, like cosmic rewards that we can cash in for a better future. Bad deeds result in karmic demerits, punishments that will be inflicted upon us, if not in this life, then in the next. This worldview, while it may seem to promote good behavior, is actually a subtle and powerful form of control. It creates action that is based on fear of punishment or desire for reward, not on genuine, heartfelt sincerity. We act good not because it is our nature, but to avoid the wrath of a cosmic authority. This turns the spiritual path into a tightrope walk of perpetual anxiety. We become terrified of making a mistake. We are weighed down by a heavy burden of guilt over our past actions, fearing the inevitable day when our karmic debts come due. This model chains us to the past and makes us fearful of the future. It is just another cage, gilded this time with morality and righteousness, but a cage nonetheless. It prevents us from acting freely, from learning from our mistakes with grace, and from understanding the true, compassionate nature of the universe. We must now replace this flawed model with the liberating truth. Karma is not a moral law enforced by a judge. Karma is a natural law of energy, as impersonal, as impartial, and as reliable as the law of gravity. The law is simple, elegant, and absolute. As you sow, so shall you reap. Or, to put it another way, the energy you broadcast is the energy you will experience. This is the ultimate extension of the mirror principle we explored earlier. If you sow seeds of anger, judgment, and manipulation into the field of your life, you will, with absolute certainty, harvest experiences that cause you to feel angry, judged, and manipulated. It is not a punishment, it is a simple, energetic return. The universe is not doing something to you. It is a perfect mirror, flawlessly reflecting your own energy back to you so that you may see it clearly. If you sow seeds of generosity, kindness, trust, and love, you will, with that same certainty, harvest a reality filled with experiences of generosity, kindness, support, and love. The critical thing to understand is that karma is not concerned with the external appearance of your deeds. It is concerned with the internal, vibrational quality of the intention behind them. You can perform a good deed, like donating to a charity, but if you do it from a place of resentment or from a desire to be seen as a good person, the karmic seed you are planting is that of resentment and egoic pride. The universe will not respond to the action, it will respond to the energy. Conversely, you could perform an action that looks bad on the surface, like delivering a hard truth to someone. But if your intention is one of pure, compassionate love, aimed at helping that person break free from a delusion, the karmic seed you are planting is one of love and truth. This new understanding presents us with a profound inner conflict. The choice between being a prisoner of the past or a creator of the present. The ego, looking back at its long and sordid history of mistakes, of anger, of selfishness, becomes terrified by this impartial law. It thinks, I am doomed. Look at all the negative seeds I have sown. It is only a matter of time before I am forced to harvest a field of suffering. This leads to a sense of fatalism, a dread that we are forever defined and condemned by our past. But the soul, the part of us that lives in the eternal now, is utterly liberated by this law. The soul understands that the past has no power over the present moment. It doesn't matter what the old, overgrown field of your past looks like. The only thing that matters, the only thing that has any creative power at all, is the seed you are holding in your hand right now. In this moment, you are free. In this moment, you can choose to plant a new seed. The soul's perspective is, I can start a new garden today. True karma does not chain you to your past. It frees you from it by giving you the absolute power to create a new future, starting now. The core message, the one that can transform your entire relationship with your life's journey, is this. Karma is a compass, not a cage. The old, fear-based view sees karma as a prison, built from the unchangeable iron bars of our past transgressions. The truth is that karma is the most compassionate and intelligent guidance system imaginable. It is a self-correcting compass, and its only purpose is to guide you back to your own true north state of love, trust, and alignment. When you act out of fear, anger, or separation and sow a dissonant seed, the universe gently mirrors that dissonance back to you in the form of a difficult or painful experience. This experience is not a punishment. You must see it for what it is. It is the needle of your inner compass, swinging back to point you toward home. It is a loving tap on the shoulder from the universe, whispering, my child, that direction, the one of fear and control, leads to suffering. Try a different way. Come back to love. When you truly understand this, you stop fearing karma and you begin to work with it. You see it as your greatest ally, your most faithful teacher, whose only lesson is, and has always been, how to return home to your true self. How do we consciously begin to sow a new and beautiful karmic field? We practice the art of selfless action, a path known in the East as karma yoga. This is the practice of purifying our intentions and acting for the sake of greater good without any thought of personal gain. Once a day, or even just once a week, make a conscious choice to perform a small, selfless act of kindness. The key to this practice is that it must be done with absolutely no expectation of reward, recognition, or even a simple thank you. If possible, do it anonymously. Pay for the coffee of the person waiting behind you in line and drive away before they find out. Leave an unexpectedly generous tip for a struggling server. On your morning walk, take a bag and spend 10 minutes picking up trash in a public park. Send an anonymous note of encouragement to a colleague you know is having a hard time. As you perform this action, your focus should not be on the other person's reaction or on how good you are for doing it. Your focus should be on the pure feeling of love and generosity in your own heart. Feel the simple joy of contributing to the well-being of the whole, for no reason other than that it feels good to give. This is the most powerful way to shift your karmic pattern. By acting from a place of pure, unconditional giving, you are planting a seed of pure abundance. You are sending a clear, powerful signal to the universe. I am so full, so connected to Source that I can give freely and joyfully without needing anything in return. The universe, as a perfect and loving mirror, has no choice but to reflect this state of sovereign abundance back to you in 1,000 beautiful and unexpected ways. We have come to understand karma not as a distant, moralistic judge, but as a direct, immediate, and impartial law of energetic reflection. The universe, like a perfect and loving mirror, simply shows us the truth of our own state of being. This realization is the key that unlocks our ultimate power and ushers us into the final stage of our transformation. For if this law is true, it means that our most important and sacred work is not to rearrange the chairs on the deck of the world outside, but to consciously and deliberately tend to the fire of the world within. We must graduate from being a passive reflector of our environment to becoming a powerful broadcaster of our reality. We must learn to consciously radiate the frequency of trust. Let us explore the physics of consciousness. At the most fundamental level, everything in our universe, from the stars in the heavens to the chair you are sitting on, is not solid matter, but vibrating energy. Your thoughts, and even more powerfully, your emotions, are not just fleeting abstract experiences. They are tangible energetic frequencies that you are constantly broadcasting into the quantum field, like a powerful radio tower. We can think of these frequencies as existing on a spectrum. At the low end of the spectrum, we find the dense, heavy, and chaotic frequencies of fear, shame, guilt, anger, and the need for control. When you are in these states, you can feel their quality in your body, a sense of contraction, of heaviness, of being trapped. At the high end of the spectrum, we find the light, spacious, and harmonious frequencies of love, joy, gratitude, peace, and unwavering trust. When you inhabit these states, you can feel their quality as well, a sense of expansion, of lightness, of freedom. The universe operates on the fundamental principle of resonance. Like a tuning fork that will cause another tuning fork of the same pitch to vibrate without touching it, the frequency you broadcast will cause experiences, people, and circumstances of a matching frequency to activate in the field of your life and be drawn to you. You do not attract what you want with your mind. You attract what you are with your being. This is the great secret of manifestation. It is not an act of mental gymnastics, but an act of vibrational alignment. Your primary creative power is to choose your frequency. This truth reveals a profound inner conflict, a choice we make in every moment between two fundamentally different ways of being in the world. It is the choice between being a thermometer or a thermostat. For most of our lives, we have been thermometers. A thermometer is a passive instrument. It does nothing on its own. It simply measures and reflects the temperature of the room it is in. If the room is cold, the thermometer reads cold. If the room is hot, the thermometer reads hot. This is how we have been taught to live. We allow our external circumstances to dictate our internal state. We say, I will be happy when I get the promotion. I will feel peaceful when my partner finally changes. I will feel abundant when there is more money in my bank account. We are thermometers, passively reacting to the emotional and circumstantial temperature of our lives, believing we have no choice. But the path of the conscious creator invites us to become a thermostat. A thermostat is a proactive, powerful instrument. It does not reflect the temperature of the room. It sets the temperature of the room. It holds a desired frequency, let us say, 72 degrees, and it sends out a clear, unwavering signal. The environment, the furnace, or the air conditioner must then adjust itself to match the signal being broadcast by the thermostat. This is the great shift in consciousness. It is the decision to stop letting the world dictate your feelings, and to start letting your feelings dictate your world. It is the radical act of choosing your desired emotional state: peace, joy, trust first, regardless of what the external mirror is currently reflecting, and then holding that frequency with such faith that the mirror has no choice but to recalibrate and reflect your new reality back to you. It is the definitive shift from reacting to life to creating it. This leads us to a new and powerful understanding of our identity and our purpose. For too long, we have seen ourselves as small, fragile ships, lost and tossed upon a dark and stormy sea. We have felt like victims of the wind and the waves. We pray for a light to guide us. We search the horizon for a sign of rescue. We curse the storm that rages around us. This is the perspective of the thermometer, the perspective of the victim. I am here to tell you that this is a fundamental misunderstanding of who you are. You are not the ship, you are the lighthouse. Let this sink into the very core of your being. You are the lighthouse. You are a powerful, stable, and deeply rooted tower of light. Your job is not to sail the stormy seas. Your job is not to fight the wind and the waves. Your job is not to frantically try and rescue every other ship. Your one and only sacred duty is to remain firmly rooted on your rock of presence, to tend to your inner lantern, and to shine your frequency, your unique, beautiful light of consciousness out into the world, steadily, clearly, and without apology. The lighthouse does not worry about which ships will see its light. It does not run down to the shore to shout instructions. It doesn't dim its light on foggy nights because it's afraid no one is watching. It simply, faithfully, and powerfully shines. And by its very nature, by its unwavering commitment to its own light, the ships that are looking for that light, the ones that are attuned to that frequency, can find their way home. You guide the world not by trying to change it, but by having the courage to be the unwavering light of your own awakened heart. How do we practice this? How do we step into our role as the lighthouse each day? We begin with a simple but profound ritual: the morning frequency setting. The very first moments of your day are the most powerful. Your mind is still soft, malleable, and open from its journey in the world of dreams. What you do in these first moments sets the energetic tone, the thermostat setting, for your entire day. So, tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before your feet hit the floor, while you are still lying in that quiet, sacred space between sleep and full waking, perform this act of creation. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart to connect with your own energy. Ask yourself this simple question: what frequency do I choose to broadcast today? Let the answer be a single, feeling word. Perhaps it is trust, perhaps it is peace, perhaps it is joy or abundance or love. Choose one. Now, for the next 2 to 5 minutes, your only task is to generate the feeling of that frequency in your body. Do not just think the word trust, embody it. What does the physical sensation of pure trust feel like? Is it a warmth that spreads through your chest? Is it a deep relaxation in your belly? Is it a sense of spaciousness behind your eyes? Does it have a color, a texture, a sound? There is no right answer. Just explore the felt sense of your chosen frequency. Breathe into it, let it grow, amplify it, marinate in it until it becomes the most real thing in your experience. This practice is like a master musician tuning their instrument before a great concert. You are consciously and deliberately setting your vibrational keynote for the day. By doing so, you are no longer starting your day as a passive thermometer, waiting to see what the temperature of the world will be. You are starting your day as the lighthouse, powerfully and intentionally shining your chosen light and calling forth a reality that is a perfect, beautiful reflection of the frequency you have so lovingly chosen to become. We have learned to shine our light, to radiate the frequency of trust from the lighthouse of our being. We have become a beacon for ourselves and for the world. And now, we take the final, most important step of this journey. We turn our gaze away from the light that shines out and we travel down deep into the foundation of the tower itself. We go inward to discover the unshakable rock upon which it is built, the source of all its power and all its light. After a long and arduous journey through the wilderness of fear and control, we are at long last coming home. Reflect for a moment on the great external search that has defined so much of your life. All the striving, the planning, the building of armor, the constant, exhausting effort to control reality, what was it all truly for? At its absolute root, every action was a desperate search for a single, simple feeling, the feeling of safety, the feeling that I am okay. We believed this feeling was a destination we had to arrive at, a prize we had to win. We thought if we could just accumulate a certain amount of money in the bank, then we would feel safe. We thought if we could just secure the unwavering love and validation of a specific partner, then we would feel safe. We thought if we could just achieve a certain job title, a certain level of status, a certain state of perfect physical health, then, finally, we could lay down our arms and feel okay. So we spent our lives as architects and maintenance workers of an external fortress. We built walls of wealth, towers of achievement, and moats of carefully managed relationships. But we discovered a devastating truth. The external world is, by its very nature, a realm of impermanence. The tides of the economy shift, people change or leave, our bodies age, and success is fleeting. Tying our inner sense of safety to these shifting sands is a guaranteed recipe for perpetual anxiety. We become frantic guards on the walls of our own fortress, constantly scanning the horizon for the next inevitable threat, constantly patching the cracks, never knowing a moment of true, deep, unconditional peace. The entire journey of this audiobook, every step we have taken, has been about facilitating a great pivot, a turn from the outer world to the inner, a shift from control to trust. And now, we arrive at the destination of that pivot. Imagine a weary traveler who has spent their entire life searching the globe for a legendary treasure. They have deciphered ancient maps, sailed treacherous seas, and climbed impassable mountains. They have sacrificed everything in their quest. Finally, exhausted, defeated, and with nothing to show for their efforts, they return to the humble, long-forgotten cottage where they grew up. One afternoon, feeling a simple urge to bring a little beauty into their life, they take a shovel and begin to dig in their own overgrown garden to plant a single flower. And then, with a solid thud, the shovel hits something hard. They dig with their hands and unearth an old wooden chest. They pry it open, and inside, glittering in the sunlight, is the very treasure they had sought all over the world. It was here, beneath their own feet, the entire time. You are that traveler. The world was the map that led you on a long and necessary journey. And your striving, your suffering, your exhaustion, it was not a mistake. It was the sacred pilgrimage that finally made you weary enough to stop searching out there and to finally turn your gaze inward. And here, in the stillness, in the silence you have so patiently cultivated, you find it. The feeling you were chasing across the world, the profound, unshakable peace, the deep, unconditional love, the absolute, immutable safety. It is not something you have found, it is something you have uncovered. It was here all along. It is the very ground of your being, the bedrock of your soul, the nature of consciousness itself. To arrive at this discovery can be, paradoxically, disorienting. There is a strange and beautiful inner conflict that arises. The disorientation of peace. For your entire life, your ego mind has been fueled by the narrative of the search, the identity of being the seeker, the one who is striving, the one who has a problem to solve, has given you a sense of purpose. When the search ends, when the problem is revealed to be an illusion, the ego can feel unemployed. It might whisper, "Now what? What do I do all day if there is no dragon to slay, no mountain to climb?" You may feel a sense of stillness that is so unfamiliar it borders on boredom. This is the death of the old, striving identity. It is the silence that falls after a loud, clattering factory finally powers down. You must be patient and gentle with yourself in this phase. You must learn to be at peace with peace. You must learn that your worth is not in your seeking, but in your being. This is the ultimate core message of our journey together. The safety you have so desperately sought your entire life is not a place, a person, or a possession. It is not something you can earn, achieve, acquire, or lose. The sanctuary you have been trying to build in the external world already exists, in its perfect and complete form, within you. You are the home you have been searching for. You are the sanctuary. The peace that you crave is not a result of perfect circumstances. It is the very fabric of your deepest consciousness, which is untouched by the chaos of the world. The love that you seek is not something another person can give you. It is the very essence of your own heart. The security you desire is not in a bank account. It is in the unshakable ground of your own being, which existed before your birth and will exist after your death. Nothing and no one in the external world can ever give this to you. And more importantly, nothing and no one can ever take it away from you. This realization, when truly and deeply felt, is the end of fear. It is the beginning of real, lasting, and unconditional freedom. Let us now create a practice, a way to consciously and deliberately access this inner sanctuary whenever you need to. This is the homecoming meditation. Find a comfortable position, sitting or lying down, and gently close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths, and with each exhale, feel your body softening, releasing the tensions of the day. Bring your awareness now to the very center of your chest, to the space of your spiritual heart. Imagine, in this sacred space, that you can see the top of a beautiful spiral staircase leading down into the core of your own being. It can be made of wood or stone or light, whatever feels right to you. One step at a time, begin to descend this staircase. With each step down, feel yourself moving deeper into a state of profound peace and stillness. You are leaving the noise of the world, the chatter of the mind far behind you, deeper and deeper, quieter and quieter. As you reach the bottom of the staircase, you find a single beautiful door. This is the door to your own inner sanctuary. It knows you. It opens only for you. Place your hand on the door and feel its warmth. Open it and step inside. Take a moment to create this space in your imagination. This is your sacred room. Is there a warm, crackling fireplace? A soft, comfortable armchair? Are the walls lined with books of wisdom? Or are they open to a view of a serene lake or a starry cosmos? Is the room filled with a gentle, healing light? Is it completely silent? Or can you hear soft, celestial music? This is your room. It is perfectly, completely, and utterly safe. No one can enter here without your permission. Here, you are whole. Here, you are at peace. Here, you are home. Spend a few moments just being in this space. Feel the deep, unshakable safety of it. Feel the unconditional love that permeates the very air. Know that this is not just an imagination. This is a real place within your own consciousness, and you can return here anytime you wish, anytime the world feels too loud or too frightening. This sanctuary is your anchor. It is your power source. It is your true and eternal home. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together, which is not an end, but a homecoming. We began with a hand clenched tight in a fist of fear, believing its grip was the only thing keeping our world from falling apart. Through this shared time, we have watched that fist soften. We have felt the tension ease, finger by finger, as we moved from control to trust, from the noisy chatter of the ego to the quiet whisper of the soul, from the frantic external search to the profound inner discovery. We have learned that this transformation is not about adding anything new to ourselves. It is not about becoming a better, stronger version of the person we were. It is, instead, a great and sacred act of removal. It is the shedding of a lifetime of conditioning, the letting go of an armor that was never truly us. the unlearning of fear. It is a return to the simple, open, and trusting state that has always been our most natural way of being. For most of our lives, we have lived as a frantic swimmer, tossed into the current of a powerful river. Believing we were separate from the water, we were terrified of drowning, and so we struggled. We kicked against the current, we thrashed our arms against the flow, we gasped for air, our muscles burning with the relentless effort of fighting a force infinitely greater than ourselves. That struggle, that resistance, is the life of control. It is a life defined by fear and exhaustion. The moment of surrender is the moment the exhausted swimmer finally gives up the fight. They let go. They stop kicking, and in that moment of release, they discover a miracle. They do not sink, they float. The very river they were fighting against reveals itself to be a supportive presence, holding them effortlessly on its surface. But there is one final, deeper realization waiting for us. It is the ultimate truth that ends the struggle forever. As we float in this state of trust, we realize that the separation was an illusion. There is no distinction between our body and the water. The cool, flowing current is indistinguishable from the lifeblood in our own veins. We are not a swimmer in the river. We are the river. The very force we were fighting is the substance of our own being. And in that recognition, all effort ceases. Not because we have won, but because we realize there was never a battle to be fought. There was only a flow to be joined. The power to make this shift, to move from the frantic swimmer to the flowing river, is not something you need to acquire. It is not a distant goal you must strive for. It is the very essence of who you are, waiting patiently for you beneath the noise of your fear. It is available to you now, in this moment, in this breath. The choice to unclench the fist, to stop struggling, to trust the flow, is always just one conscious thought away. The long war is over. The armor has been laid down. The frantic swimmer has remembered they are the water. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to seek, nothing left to control. Simply be. Breathe in the vast, quiet peace of your own being. Breathe out your unwavering trust into the world, and allow the life you were trying so hard to build to finally, gracefully, carry you home.